Very, what? Bro,
So funny.
breathing is so funny, Shabella.
Is there no sound? What's going on?
We're waiting for the host.
I said,
Oh,
no,
snap.
just give me 15 more seconds. 15 seconds, you guys. Keep sharing the live while I'm in 15 seconds. I should get like 20 more shares. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Official KD. Wait, what are we waiting for, host?
Yo, bro, bro, say like 5 minutes. Say like 5 minutes,
No,
not 30
it's okay.
seconds.
I'm ready now. Yo, this guy, Dark Knight, he be harassing and stalking Trinitarians. I can't lie.
100%.
Like, I don't even be debating like that anymore. He be harassing and stalking me. Are y'all ready?
He be stalking me as well.
Oh, you know this.
The guys like Dark Knight, just gotta brush them, bro.
You know, it's
They're not important.
Acting as host when he has the same mod that I have. You can't do
Like
anything.
what?
There's no point in you being up here.
Let's commence.
Alright, y'all ready? It's 10K likes. Y'all can see the timer well, correct? I'll make a big screen so you guys don't have to see the rest of my.
Oh, you're gonna show. Oh,
No, it's fine.
You can just do showtime, right?
The timer. No.
Oh, okay.
The timer's fine like this.
All right.
Yeah, it's easier for me if y'all don't want the timer, but I don't mind.
I'm saying that because when I did.
So she don't be holding the,
I'll start your timer.
Okay, cool. Listen.
Alright. Take your time.
Blessings, my brothers and sisters in Christ. May all be well in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. We gather here today to refute the calumnies and the profanities against the doctrine of the triune God. The accusation being the Trinity is three gods. Lord, guide me through this conversation in spirit and truth, to explicate clearly for who and who do not know where the Trinity is one God, who exists as three distinct persons, which is ascertained within the Holy Writ and asserted within the Nicene Athanasian Creed. Faith is this, that we worship one God in Trinity and Trinity in unity, neither confounding the persons nor dividing the substance. For there is one person of the Father, another of the Son, and another of the Holy Spirit. But the Godhead of the Father, of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit is all one, the glory equal, the majesty co-eternal. This is contained within Scripture that identifies the person to be divine, such as the Son, Jesus in John chapter 1, verses 1-3, Colossians chapter 2, verses 9, and the Holy Spirit in Acts 5:3-4, 1 Corinthians 8:6. Regarding to the Father, the distinction between the persons are shown between the Father and the Holy Spirit in John 15:26. As the Spirit proceeds from the Father, and that which proceeds from the principle is distinct from it. John 14:16 shows the difference between the divine Son and the Spirit, as another advocate, which is indicated by Christ, will be sent when Jesus ascends. Moreover, we have briefly given some scriptural marks to reveal that this doctrine is founded and not made up. So we will constrain the domain of discourse so that the audience and my interlocutor may know what the subject matter is. My interlocutor has to demonstrate that the Nicene and Athanasian Creed entails three gods. Given our commitments, which are the Trinity, signifies the divine persons which possess the same numerical essence and existence, but are distinguished qua origin and of relations. Let me give you the terminologies. Essence means what a thing is. It is sometimes substitutable in some contexts for another term, substance. Existence here means that it is, which doesn't depend upon some mind. Person means an individual of a rational nature. In addition, the term God signifies the one undivided divine nature, but can stand for any of the divine persons, because they possess the one undivided divine nature. Furthermore, counting is contextual, as the numerical value is understood in relation to some context, which is agreed by non-Christians such as Aristotle in his Metaphysics Book 5, Chapter 6, and in Frege in Peter Geach's book on Logic Matters, in page 238. We can either count by identity or division, as stated by Alfonso Wenz. Here, you utilize relative identity to count. The persons being three, but God being one. I call this species R. Our identity is of the form A and B is the same F, but not G, where F and G are count nouns. Thus, A and B can be one F but different G's. Count nouns or sortals specify the category by which things belong to. For A and B to be identical under the sorter F, A and B must either share all of the same properties as predicates relative to sorter F, or share the same predicates plus the criterion of identity to be counted as one F. But for A and B to be different G's, we don't possess the same predicates relative to the sorter G and don't satisfy the criterion of identity. The Father and Son are the same God, but not the same person. Their personal properties define the differences, allowing us to count two individuals. However, they share all the divine attributes and existence. This applies to the Holy Spirit as well, which is distinct from the Father and Son, but is the same God as them. Thus, we can count three persons because their hypostatic properties make them different, and one God because they possess the same divine properties and divine existence. Amen.
Yo, G won't be killing me with these Thomas Aquinas ass openings.
Greetings to the churches in Galatia Academy for this.
God, greetings to my brother.
Therefore, I beseech thee, brethren. Yo.
Inspired by Paul, man. Inspired by Paul.
You feel me? I'm not gonna lie, Danny's opening was ass, but we're gonna listen to it anyway. I'm just ready to get into like the discourse part because Danny was just like, yeah, so we have Poseidon and Zeus, right? Like normally speaking, how we like really understand it. It just wasn't giving very philosophically inclined, but let's hear it. But I think G1 started off strong.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. All right, beautiful. Danny, whenever you're ready. 5 minutes, and I'll start when you speak.
All right, you can go ahead. So imagine you're some kind of agnostic, or you've never seen anything about you don't know any Christian doctrine. You're somewhat familiar with the pagan gods, and you know that Hades is a god, Poseidon is a god, and Zeus is a god. And because they're not each other, right? They're different persons, specifically. You're going to, I think, reasonably correctly infer that they're three gods. And you come across the Nicene Creed, and you see something similar. They see the Father is a god, the Jesus is a god, the Holy Spirit is a god, and at that, Jesus comes from the Father in some way, right? They have different beliefs, right? You're going to think that they're going to be three gods, right? If you just reason normally, that's to say, reason the same way that you were reasoning about Hades, Poseidon, and Zeus, right? Now, there's sort of two, I guess, approaches to this.
Yo, this is painful listening to it the second time. This had to be off the dome.
So everybody, did you hear what he said? He said initially, when we reason about Greek gods, right? He says, when we say Poseidon is a god, right? Zeus is a god. Zeus and Poseidon are not each other. We can currently infer that there's multiple gods, right? So we're trying to apply the same form to the Trinity. You got what I'm saying? And I clocked it and I mentioned it, but carry on.
All right, let's continue.
Plus, they're gods created
Issue.
in separate, like they're separate beings that were born from another god. So it's not, the assumption he's making is faulty because it's not a god that had pre-existence and didn't have any parts. It's two separate gods that were born from another. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think the problem is Danny tried to start out with this is a god, this is a god, this is a god. And of course, naturally, we've reasoned that there are three gods, right? So you'll notice this language of a god is going to be like
It's the
what
big thing.
Danny
Yeah.
uses.
It's the precursor,
Yeah,
exactly.
he's gonna fixate on a god.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the more common approach is say, no, if you reason normally, you still get one God, given, some model of how we understand personhood and God and stuff like that. And I think that's ludicrous, right? That we
Personal incredulity fallacy.
typically understand God as being a particular person, not many persons, right? Even Trinitarians refer to God as he, not they, right? And we understand the normal use of the term God refers to one person, as in the case of Hades, Poseidon, and Zeus. And so it's not that, I think it's just the case that if you just reason normally, you're going to get three gods.
What does it mean to reason normally? Like, Danny, we're not colloquially speaking here. I don't understand this. Danny always tries to merge colloquial language with philosophical language. I notice that a lot as well. Like, what does that mean when we reason normally? It's very vague.
Because even when we
The second
reason,
kind
oh no, you can carry on, please. No, I was just gonna say that even when we reason normally, we can reason incorrectly or have invalid inferences. You get what I'm saying? So he's being fairly vague on what he means here. But yeah, carry on.
just to say, okay, well, you're right. If you reason normally about these things, you're going to get three gods. But there's a special case. There's a special considerations in the case of our doctrine, right? Here's a special way of counting. Here's a special way to understand God, right? Or, it's so mysterious, so otherly that, normal thinking, normal reasoning doesn't apply, right? I'm actually, more sympathetic to those sorts of people, right? They admit that if you normally reason about such things, you're going to get three gods, but here's some proprietary understanding of the term God and the way that we count and stuff like that, right? But I think that people that want to run the LPT, right, are really talking about, hey, if we just reason like every day, the way we count, the way that we think about God, and the way we think about personhood, right, we're going to get three gods, right? And that's my overall sort of position or question, is that how are we count? What is so special about the doctrine of the Trinity, or what's doing all the work to where we're counting to one God? How is it different than the Hades, Poseidon, and Zeus case? And that's it. That's my opening.
Yeah, opening was straight dog water. Sorry, Danny. Sorry, Danny, because I didn't know what a lot of that meant. A lot of that was very vague. That was just like, hey, isn't this ridiculous, guys? Like, this sounds crazy, right? Like, normally we don't reason like this, but somehow the Trinity is special. Well, it's not like special pleading for the Trinity if we're able to give a coherent account as to why this is the case, in opposed to like other cases where it isn't this way. So yeah, opening was ass.
But what were you gonna say, MK?
Any
No,
thoughts?
because him saying like all the like if we to reason normally, yeah, I'm literally gonna say like, what Kiana said. Like, how is it? I don't understand how it would be special pleading if it's like there's a logical coherent way and where in which we're counting that there is one God, but in a different sort of way, and it's logically coherent. But it doesn't. I don't know. What you're trying to say is, guys, aren't I right and he's wrong?
Yeah, basically, trying to say that like the Trinitarian special plead, we give like an ad hoc response to kind of like salvage the doctrine, but that isn't the case.
This sounds dumb, right?
It's not the case. But yeah, carry on, pleading.
All right. I'm sorry. Okay. All right. Now we'll move on to the second part of the conversation, the debate. It's going to be 50 minutes back and forth. Clarifying questions are permitted. However, do not interrupt each other when your interlocutor is giving the response or argument. Whenever you're ready, I'll start the time.
Yeah, for sure. Danny, you said how we normally reason, right? When we look at, for example, Poseidon, Zeus, or these like mythological gods, right? We count three gods. So when you're talking about like counting, do you understand counts to be contextual or non-contextual?
I don't think either way. So I think it is. So I lean towards contextual. That's the answer to your question. But whether it's you think that you use Leibniz's law, to count, kind of absolutely, or you don't, right? I think there's still going to be a counting problem.
Okay. So in this conversation, do you take counting to be contextual, or do you take counting to not be contextual? Because
I
when
think
you're
it's easier
reasoning,
to assume it's contextual because to say
Okay.
I think that's less contentious.
it's less contentious, beautiful. So when we reason to there being multiple gods, is the reason for that to be the case because normally like people view God to be like some universal, which is instantiated by Zeus, Poseidon, or any other Greek god?
Well, ordinary people, probably don't think that way. The point is, I think what ordinary people think of is that a god, right, is a person. I think that's what ordinary people think, right? We refer to God or a god as a he, she, not a they, right? So there's, I think, especially before the advent of Christianity, the term God sort of implied that there was one person.
But there's one part. Okay, beautiful. So when we say, there's three gods, is there a commonality between Poseidon, Zeus, and any other god like Hercules? Is there a commonality between of them by which we can count three gods in that case?
Hercules would be a demigod, but yeah, I mean Hades, Poseidon, and Zeus. You're asking, is there a commonality between them? They have all the same predicate: is a god.
Okay, so the predicate is going to be something which is common to them, by which we say that one god is going to be different from another god, right? So they instantiate, let's say, for example, the universal god in this case.
I'm not committed to that.
It's not about what you're committed to, but the point is that you're talking about the way in which people reason. Even if we don't take like some realist account, we take some like anti-realist account about, what's it called? The term God to be a label by which we attach to like these three individuals, right? Is there going to be some similarity relation by which is picked up by them?
I already said they all have the same predicate: is a god.
Oh, they have the same predicate as a god, but they're not identical to that, right?
Yeah, in this case, they're not identical. Yeah.
Okay, so the reason why we can count three gods is because that they possess it as a predicate, which would mean that multiple individuals can possess the same predicate, because even if we say that an individual has this predicate and that individual, which is God, is the only thing which could exist, it's possible that there could be other individuals which has the predicate God in a different world, right?
Pause it here.
Okay, cool.
Pause it here. So what I'm saying here is that, okay, cool. The term God is seen as a predicate or quality which an individual has. My point is that, okay, cool, let's say we have a world where there's only one individual which has the quality God, right? So in this world, we can say, oh, there's one God because there's one individual which has the quality of God, right? But it is possible that there could be many individuals which have the same kind of quality, so we can count multiple gods, right? So I'm saying that, okay, cool, that's only possible because, the predicate quality can be shared among many, you get what I'm saying, many individual beings. So I'm going to give an account which restricts that, making it impossible for there to be multiple beings which are God. But we'll carry on.
Yeah. Also, given that Danny's agreed up until this point, I won't say concedes, but like Danny essentially gives some charges as to like how we normally would reason and why anybody would come to and why normal people would come to the conclusion that the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit are three gods. But given that through this particular part of the exchange, Danny agrees to what you're saying qualifies three gods, then the only charge he could bring against the Trinity is that the persons, right, or have three distinct essences since he said like, oh, okay, these individuals have the predicate is a god, and normatively reasoning, I think these are three gods. So the only charge he could bring that would actually, I don't know, I guess, solidify his charge of three gods is that there's three essences, distinct essences.
Yeah, exact precisely. That's precisely what it is.
Girl, Kayla at the club at 10 a.m. in the morning. Anyway, wait, you're in Nigeria, I forgot.
So if I say to you, Danny, that in our position, we believe that the reason why there can only be one God is that existence and essence is going to be identified, such that for any X which possesses the divine nature to possess the same divine existence, which would mean it cannot be the case that there can be multiple gods, because that implies that there's multiple divinities or deities or divine beings, right?
Well, if you're committed to monotheism, right? If you start with that, then yeah, like if you're stipulating monotheism is true, then there can't be multiple gods, right? But that's that. I don't know why anyone would accept such a stipulation.
No.
Well, that wouldn't be about.
That
Let me
is
just
what I
pause it here.
said.
That wouldn't be about. Yeah, that wouldn't be about stipulating monotheism to be true. That would be about the particular commitments we have as Trinitarians, and then that would entail that we are monotheists. But the monotheism stipulation is not going to be a prior for the Trinity to be one God.
Exactly. You see what I'm saying? And I was like, yeah, this guy is not tracking. But yeah, carry on.
Said if we stated the point is, I'm saying, given our position, which is going to be the Trinitarian position regarding to God, if we say that we have God, right, which signifies the divine nature, and we state that the divine existence is identified with the divine nature, such that any X which possesses it possesses the same divine existence, which would mean that it isn't possible for there to be multiple divine existences without there being a real distinction between the divine existence and the divine nature.
Yeah, I'm not so sure what this business is to say an essence is its existence, but presumably you still think that okay, we got.
Bruh, this is I'm not making a point against Danny here, but this is the kind of like tactic Danny utilizes the rest of the debate. Like, yeah, ordinary people, I'm not so sure what this business is. I'm not so sure what this means. I'm not so sure. Like, if it's not coherent to Danny, it's not coherent at all. That's what we're in the rest of this debate.
I'm telling you. He doesn't want to deal with it, bro. Like, he's trying to cope. Like, it's actually funny.
Where's Dark Knight?
All right, you ready?
Right,
Yeah.
and stuff, whatever. You still think at the end of the day Jesus is a God, right?
Jesus is a God. No, we don't use that terminology. We say Jesus is God.
Oh, so Jesus.
Wait, I just want to pause it here because they're about to get into a spat for 20 minutes about this A language. Notice what's said here. Yes, notice what's said here. Danny asks you, well, you believe Jesus is a God, right? G1 doesn't say no. He says we don't use that terminology because of the implication, obviously, right? It could imply that Jesus is one of many gods, right? So he says we don't use that terminology. Jesus is God, okay? Now we'll move on from this. Just remember I cleared that up right here because we heard what's being said.
Man, we just don't see Jesus. He's not proper terminology.
Yeah, exactly.
That doesn't follow. Just because we say that Jesus is not a God doesn't mean he's not God. The same way that I can say that because Jesus G1 isn't a G1 doesn't mean G1 isn't G1, right?
Just say that repeat.
Can you ask the question?
Wait. I thought there were no interruptions. You chose this format for no interruptions.
Yeah, okay. Right? My apologies, but can you ask the clarity question?
Yeah, could you just repeat presumably if Jesus is not a God, the Father is not a God, and the Holy Spirit is not a God, and there are no other gods other than the one true God, right? Then you're an atheist like me.
Wait.
This is so disingenuous. Like, oh my gosh.
Yo, this guy. Yo, do you guys hear what Daddy just said? He says, presumably, right? Jesus is not a God, the Father is not a God, and the Holy Spirit is not a God, right? And then there is one true God and no other gods. That would mean that they're not a God. That would mean that they're a God, not one amongst many.
Exactly.
That would clear his own confusion. That would mean there's not a God here. If there's only one true God, and Jesus is not a God, the Father is not a God, the Holy Spirit is not a God, then that means that they're just God, not a God.
Yeah, I think he
Exactly.
probably understood that. I do
He
think he's
did.
probably
He
putting
did.
like
I
word
know
games
you
here.
do.
He did because when I gave him the counter example, right, I don't think he actually expected me to. I ain't gonna lie, bro, I ate food that day in it, so my brain was working to the max. So when I gave that counter example, I think that kind of shocked him because it made sense. That's why you had to reset the conversation by just giving the argument again and not actually answering the clarity question which I gave to him.
Yeah, Danny didn't really answer the counter analogy, and I heard a lot of people saying it was an analogous as well as Danny said it wasn't analogous as well, but it's very much analogous, right? If you're not trying to just grammatically speaking, if you're not trying to imply that this is one of many, right? You're not going to use the a language. Now, if you're not trying to imply that there's multiple G1s and G1 is just one of them, you're not going to say G1 is a G1, whether that could be true in some sense or not, right? That's just not like the language you're going to imply when you say G1 is a G1. He might very well be a G1. There might very well be other G1s. But if that's not the intention to imply that there are more than one, then that's not the language that you're going to use.
Yeah, I think if Danny was wiser, he would have just said, well, a God is just referring to the species of what identifies as like God.
Yeah, then he's cooked them because we wouldn't take God to be a species. And
Exactly.
the point of the analogy was to show that because he was saying that I reject the terminology Jesus is a God, and he was inferring that I don't believe that Jesus is God. I said that isn't true. If I say, but we don't use the terminology Jesus is a God, you can't infer that I believe that Jesus is not God. Because we believe that Jesus is God by identity, but not by predication. You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
that's the
and
whole
then
main thing.
he's also Daddy's also conflating like not a god, right? Which would be like indefinite with not God, with the term God itself, right? So like when we say Jesus is God, obviously we're saying we're making an identity statement, right? Jesus is identical to his essence. He's identical to his existence, as is the Father and the Holy Spirit. So like he's conflating a God with like this indefinite terminology with the term God itself as well.
Exactly, precisely. But he's not, look, oh my goodness, Kayla. In the beginning, if you listen to Danny's opening, he said, if we normally reason and we say Poseidon is a god, Zeus is a god, we can correctly infer that there's multiple gods. So we trying to use the same format for the Trinity, right? So he's saying if we say Jesus is a god, the Holy Spirit is a god, the Father is a god, that means we can correctly infer that there's three gods. He was trying to make me accept that linguistic construction. I'm not committed to that at all. And bear in mind, definite, if I remember correctly, indefinite definite descriptions isn't something which can be expressed in some natural language systems. So it's not a commitment that someone has to have in order for us to understand the Trinitarian commitments. So his point there is just not.
Yeah, plus he's trying to set you up for like the assumption of pantheon gods. So
Exactly.
he's not making the
Exactly.
assumption of monotheism. That's the issue, Kayla.
Exactly.
And that's what Danny implied in the beginning. And he said, yeah, if we're just trying to stipulate monotheism, well, that's not what we're trying to stipulate. That's not going to be presumed prior to presenting that the Trinity is one God. But, and also, like, by the way, I'm not saying that AG1 is going to, like, logically entail that there are multiple G1s, but conventionally that would imply it, right? That's why we wouldn't use that's why we wouldn't make that kind of statement.
I said a dog.
Yeah, you wouldn't say AG. That's the whole point. We wouldn't say AG because AG1, they could probably say, oh, yeah, that's just grammatically like
I want to ask a
incorrect.
question. So, if you
Anyway, I
wouldn't
was
use the
more.
term a god, right? It is safe to say G1, you do not have a god.
That doesn't follow.
No, that doesn't
That
follow.
doesn't follow.
The point, what I
Wait,
just
wait,
said
I'm just
about
saying, like, I understand
yeah,
where you guys are coming from, but then you have to
Uh,
look at it this way. I'm not in your paradigm. I don't have to grant to your paradigm. I can just say, G1, do you have a god? Your answer would be no, correct?
no, I said my answer would be
no,
yes.
wait,
I mean,
Kayla, this is the problem.
Or it will be
It doesn't,
yes.
like I
But then,
said, yes. The answer would be yes, right? You could still say that G1 has a god. What I'm saying is it's not going to logically entail that there are multiple gods and G1 has one of them. G1 worships one of them, but conventionally it would imply that this is one of others, one of many. That's why you wouldn't use this terminology. So you could make that statement, yes, right? But to be very specific and technical, you wouldn't use that statement because if the intention is to not imply multiple gods or that they're one, that God is one of many, right? Then you wouldn't use that terminology.
Exactly.
Yeah, let me
Plus, Kayla,
give
it's
an
like
example.
It's like we're talking about Mazzy. Let's say, for example, if I say, "Oh, G1 believes in a tiger," that just means that there's some tiger which exists, right? But then when someone says, "What's that tiger in that movies?" Let's say Tom is a tiger, right? That means tiger here is being utilized as a predicate. We don't believe that the term God is going to be utilized as a predicate, because when we say that Jesus is God, we're not saying that Christ is God by predication. We're saying Christ is God by identity. You get what I'm saying? So a God is going to be treated as a predicate in any kind of sentence when it has a relation to a subject.
yeah, like
That's not
Kayla, you have to remember he's trying to win a debate right now. So the first thing that a lot of Arians do is they say that there was God and then the word was a God. So they're initially trying to separate the word to like a separate being from God. So
exactly.
him using that terminology isn't him in good faith being like, well, you serve a God, right? It's not him saying like you identify with one singular God. It's him initially trying to establish multiple beings being God at the same time.
Yeah, think
Exactly.
about it like this: like when normally
I would
when we talk,
agree with what he just said. Like you'd say that like is she's trying to trap him into agreeing to that just for the sake of the debate. So he's not granting G1 his paradigm. He's trying to strawman him into agreeing that Jesus is a
Well,
God, the Father will be a God, and then filter God. That's three gods.
Right.
it's not
Exactly.
about
Which
it's
is
not
the
about
thing.
strawmanning him first. Yeah, it's not about strawmanning him per se, but whenever you're in a conversation like this, you want to be very specific. That means you want to rule out, right, any fork in the road that your opponent can go down, right?
Exactly.
So if you're being very specific with your language, and by the way, this Turkish whatever Turkish skeptic, you're very confused. I think
yeah,
everybody should understand that there's a difference between semantic entailments, right, and what conversation can apply, right? So like conventional conversation, and semantic entailment. So I'm not saying that it entails multiple, right? But conversationally speaking, it can imply that. So that's why you wouldn't use that terminology.
yeah. So
Exactly.
for example, it's like if you listen to the debate, Dan is trying to establish common sense talking. So that's
Yeah.
essentially his argument. He's trying to
Yeah.
say if we normally think about it, it will imply three gods. So when Dan is asking that question, if he believes in a god, he's trying to make G1 and everybody in the comments think about like a normal conversation that you would have. So like, but it's there's no problem for a Christian to say that we worship like we believe in a God. For example, like if an atheist is like, "Oh, what are you? Do you believe in a God?" and we say yes, all we're just saying is that we believe that there is a being that is
Mm.
God. And so G1 is rejecting the sentence a God because he's trying to deny the premise of common sense thinking to make it seem like there's multiple gods.
And KLK. So you recognizing, beautiful. You're recognizing that he's not granting my paradigm or the Trinitarian paradigm. It's
I
an
know, like
it's an internal critique, not an external critique. So if he doesn't grant my paradigm and he's not given an argument based upon my commitments, then he's not actually given internal critique, in which he was trying to specify in the beginning. You know that, right?
I would agree because if he's asking you that question and saying that you not having a God is you being atheist, then he's not granting your paradigm. I mean, I would agree to that.
Okay, so then he's arguing this, so he's not given internal. The whole point of this discussion is an internal critique. Hence, I established the parameters in my opening by saying, given right our commitments, which is this, and this, and that, which is contained in the Athanasian Creed and the Nicene Creed, he has to show the entailment of there being three gods. He's given other stipulations which we're not committed to, right? Meaning that it can be rejected, and there
Oh
isn't
my
going to be
God!
no
One sec,
cost of
one sec.
opposition.
Uh,
Mhm.
whatever,
The comments, Kiki.
No, Justin's on the panel. Yo, I'm gonna kick you. Wallahi.
I'm asking
I'm
the
gonna say it
question.
one more. I'm gonna say it one more time, right? A
Just asking
God.
the
There's
question.
no
Like I just
semantic.
like
Yes.
was doing
There's
something.
no semantic. Shut the hell up. There's no semantic entailment. Like I said, this is my third time saying it now, right? There's no semantic entailment that a God, right, means or implies multiple God, right? I said conventionally, right? It can imply it can imply that there's a membership in which this thing is a part of. right? So there's a difference between semantic entailment and what, because Danny keeps employing like when we normally understand this or what we normally mean. If I say like AG1 conventionally, right? This not no semantical entailment. Conventionally, this can imply that he is one of many or one in a membership. If I say same with if I say a apple, well, it would be an apple, right? Or a dog. That would conventionally imply that there is this member of dogs, and this dog that I'm pointing to, or particular dog, is one of many. I didn't say there's a semantic entailment. There's a difference.
Yeah, that's what
Can you
that's what
can
John
you can you
that's
can you
what
repeat what you said?
that's
Oh
what John
hell
Meridian
no.
that's what John Meridian says at Catholic, by the way. You're correct, Ken. That's what John Meridian says. But yeah, carry on playing.
Hell no.
I mean, I don't know why you told me that, Shakiana. I literally said that in the comments.
Because I literally said it 3 times on the panel, and you still in the comments asking questions.
That was my first time asking questions. You turned into the Joker.
I didn't care. Anyway,
Yeah, I know you don't. The Joker doesn't care.
yo. Oh, thank you, Dash.
Continue the
W
convo.
Dash. I'm gonna continue playing playing the video.
Again, I already told you, just because we negate, right, the formation of your natural language statement to say that Jesus is not a God, doesn't mean that Jesus is not God. We say that Jesus is God by identity, right? And it's the same way that just because I say G1 isn't AG1, doesn't mean that G1 is not G1. So can you please answer that
I think
question?
I don't think that's analogous. I think it would be more analogous
Yes, it
to
is.
say, wait, I thought you didn't want any interruptions.
Oh,
I'm trying not to interrupt you. But the point is more. I think what's more analogous is to say Trump is president. Their president being used is more analogous to the term, like to say Jesus is God, right? But to say that Trump is president, right, is to you can infer that Trump is a president. Right. In the same way that if you say Jesus is God, and you can understand that in terms of whatever relation you want, identity, relativity, whatever you want, and you don't infer from that Jesus is a God, right? Then I just think that you're an atheist like me.
Well, I feel like you don't
I don't know what the hell Danny
You see,
mumbled there, but I'm gonna keep it.
he just
I'm
kept
gonna keep it
reiterating the argument.
pushing.
He just doesn't adjust the points that I'm given. He just keeps reiterating the argument and says, "Oh yeah, but if we say this, then you can infer this, bro." Address the point that I made earlier,
Yeah,
bro.
and so I think he's not even acknowledged. I think he's equivocating on even what the sentence means, because
Yeah, exactly.
there are different ways in which a sentence, like, do you believe this thing is a god, means. Like, you can mean, like, if let's say someone to ask you, do you believe this thing is a god? I could be asking, do you believe it's some mythological divine being? Then the answer would be no. Do you believe that this is one out of many? Do you believe this is the only God? Like, these are multiple ways of seeing it. So I don't know. It's kind of
Wait, hold on.
A does not necessarily mean that there's several. For instance, I can say we're in a universe. Does it mean
No,
that there's
we're in
several other
agreement.
universes?
That's not.
It wouldn't.
Yeah, but the context he was given
We
prior was like
agree.
the Greek god pantheon. That's the whole point.
Exactly. And Danny legit agreed earlier, right? If you will say KLK, is that even if in this world we have one individual, which is God, it is possible for there to be many gods, because they would have the same quality, which is God. The point is, I gave an account, right, which blocks the possibility of there being multiple gods, given that the divine nature and existence is going to be one and the same thing. I really
Plus-
blocked that. What's it called? Position. We're going to read.
No, I was just going to reiterate like that. If it is context dependent on what you mean by a god, and they start out by making the comparison of the Trinity to a Greek pantheon, then I mean, it's, in my opinion, a little bit more obvious that he's not just saying that in good faith to say, well, you must serve a god because you're a monotheist. He's saying that to try and set him up to be like, well, Jesus is a god. Kind of like there was another guy who said it in the comments. He put it beautifully. If Jesus is a god, the Holy Spirit's a god, and the Father is a god, how is that any different from a Greek pantheon?
Exactly.
So that's the setup he's trying to put in play.
Exactly.
And also, Danny's okay. His analogy isn't fallacious, but whenever he gives the analogy of a president, right? He's presuming that God, what's in contention here, right, is like how God is being used grammatically, right? Is it that God behaves like I suppose like an ordinary shared title noun, right? And he uses the analogy of a president. But president, by definition, is a title that's meant to be shared by individuals that occupy a certain office, right? But obviously, in the beginning of the conversation, we said that God is the identity. Now, you wouldn't say president is the identity of the individual who occupies
Exactly. I'm
office.
telling you. Like Donald Trump isn't like identical to being a president. If he was, that means anyone who's a president is Donald Trump. It's not hard, bro. Like if I say the human nature and existence is one and the same thing, and G1 is identical to the human nature, then it would mean that if MK possessed the human nature, he would possess me. Like it's not really that hard.
Yeah, Obama is president. He's actually not, but yeah. So I would say that's a false analogy on
Obama
Danny's
isn't
part.
a president. He was a president, but yeah, come on.
Yeah, I'm gonna continue playing the video.
My analogy. The analogy is speaking about identity relations, right? So the whole point is that if we have a statement, right, it could be in the form A is a B. The point is that we reject this kind of formulation in regards to the Trinity. When we're saying Jesus is God, right, the is there is going to be of identity, not of predication. So when you're given an example of president to be some kind of adjectival predicate in relation to the person, that implies that there isn't going to be an identity relation there. So the question that I'm asking you again, Danny, when we're speaking about identity relation, is it going to be the case that Jesus is a God or Jesus is God in our position?
Well, both would have to be true, and I think it is analogous again, right? To say that Trump is president, right? You could understand that in terms of identity, right?
Well, he keeps saying that you could understand it in terms of identity, but then whenever G1 made the claim about identity relations, like, prior to Danny making this statement, the president is not going to be identical to the office of presidency. Like Donald Trump is not identical. So obviously the identity relation. I think Danny's equivocating on what identity means here now. So that's like saying he's starting to sound like Professor Matt.
And Mac, I mean Professor what's it called, Neil Justin. Isn't Danny the one that back in the day used to debate with people on LPT and used to be like, oh, there is of predication and there is of identity? Is he not the one who used to pass those two options? But then now he's saying both. Is this guy being an idiot?
You said identity. You said what about identity and predication?
Remember when Danny used to debate us Trinitarians back in the day, like 2023, 2024? Didn't he used to not say it's either is of identity or is of predication? But now he's saying it's both.
I feel like I vaguely remember that.
He's just being dishonest, but yeah, carry on.
All right.
It refers is a specific title that the president of United States, right? That's what president can mean, right? It's the one and only president of the United States in the way that God, capital G God, is the one and only little G God, right? After all.
Shekiana, you muted.
Equally president, right? But that would still mean that he's a president.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Is that an indefinite description or a definite description? When we have the indefinite article here.
That's an indefinite description.
Okay, so when we have indefinite description, does it mean that it can range over many individuals?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, but that's not how we formulate natural language statements in regard to the Trinity, because it cannot be the case that the term God can be instances of that term God, right? Because in fact, the term God just signifies the one undivided nature, which would mean that if we say that Christ is God by identity, we're just saying that they're going to be one and the same thing in reality. So when you're given this kind of formulation about, oh, Jesus is a God, the Father is a God, the Holy Spirit is a God, right, we're not committed to that. So can you please give me an argument of why I would be committed to that, or any Trinitarian?
That you're a theist. A theist believes that there's at least one God.
That's begging the question. You're stipulating that within theism, right, the a God is going to be a kind of formulation regarding to natural language, which we're going to be committed to. So can you please give me an argument of why I would be committed to that?
Well, again, it's not so much an argument, so much an empirical claim that Christians believe in a God, right? They believe in the one true God, right? And to say that the one true God is a God, to deny that rather, is just to make you an atheist.
Is there a distinction between an empirical claim and a grammatical sentence?
Well, I'm saying it's an empirical claim because I'm making a claim about how people use the language typically.
You didn't answer my question. Is there a distinction between a grammatical sentence and empirical claim?
I guess so, yeah.
Okay, so we're talking about the grammatical sentence. It is a God, right? That grammatical sentence isn't going to be something which any Trinitarian is going to be committed to. So can you please provide
I don't see
us
that.
with
I
this
don't
kind
see
of
why that would
claim?
be true.
Because you're saying that we're committed to that. We're saying that isn't the case. So can you please give us motivation for us to accept
Yeah,
that
look, I'll
kind
just
of
ask you
natural
the
language
question.
statement?
I'll just ask you a question. Do you believe in a God?
I don't believe. And what does A mean here?
Okay.
That nigga about to be atheist in a
Danny,
second. Woo!
Danny caught do you want off his swivel real quick?
Is there some God that you believe in?
Is there some God that I believe in? Yeah.
Okay, and then some God, you understand that that's not definite.
Of course.
Some
Because
is almost, you can almost understand some as A, they're interchangeable. If there's some dog out there that's yours, that there's a dog that, right? So it looks like you just kind of walked back your claim right there.
Oh, let me tell you why that isn't the case. When we remember earlier, I said to you that the term God signifies the one undivided nature. So when we're saying there's some God, we're just saying there's some one undivided nature. That isn't going to be multiplied. You know that, right?
I don't understand the point. The point is
I
that.
just told you. Okay, let me explain to you.
I thought you were
Wait,
like
pause,
interrupting.
He didn't pause. He didn't. Look, when he said that, I was just like, "Are you dumb?" Like that's why I was confused. Like, what is, bro? You study
Oh, wait,
philosophy
by
language.
the way. Now go on.
Yeah, I was just like, this guy is. I was like, what, Danny, bro? When I said that, oh, do you believe in a God? I said, oh my goodness, bro. Whatever, bro. Let me accept it. But yeah, carry on playing it because he
No,
got
I
corrected.
I was gonna say that.
prior to when wait.
Sorry.
Yeah, go on.
I was gonna say that. I was
Go
gonna say
on.
that.
Mozzie always interrupting you. Go on.
Bruh, I literally started talking before you, but okay, no problem. No,
Bruh.
I was saying that when Danny gave that understanding of a God, and obviously that had to force G1 to say yes, and G1 was considering it because I don't think G1 was paying attention in that moment because you were celebrating in your head, but Danny got you there. But by
No, he
walking
didn't. He
back,
didn't. No, he didn't
but
get
I'm
me
saying
there.
by walking back what you mean when you answer that you have a God, being distinct from like what some random person on the street will understand by some dog or a dog. So all like saying that, all I'm saying is that there is an undivided nature. If you mean that, then it can't be divided and you can't imply multiple.
No, that's the problem. Look, he asked me, right, do you believe in a God? Right, then I was like, wait, what do you mean by that? Then you said, oh, do you believe in some God? I said, yeah, some God, a God is interchangeable, that's fine. But remember, I'm not committed to the sentence, Jesus is a God.
Like you kind of said that.
Huh?
Wait, but I just
But
yeah, we can take it back, but I just want to address like prior to Danny asking G1, hey, do you believe in a God? Let's just keep in mind that Danny was asked the question 3 times
He
and he
didn't
refused
answer my
and he
question.
refused to respond to the question slash argument. And then he shifted the burden and said, well, I'll just ask you a question. Do you believe in a God? So
well, you know what? I'm gonna be honest. Like I really don't have a dog in the fight, right? So let's take it back a little bit. Let me see what Danny
oh
did
yes
there.
you do. Okay, I'll back
I
it
don't have a
up.
dog in the fight for real, for real.
Girl, your dog is atheist in this fight. Okay, let me go back.
I'm not atheist still.
Girl. Okay, I'm gonna back it up to where Danny's being asked the question repeatedly, and then he turns it around and says, hey, well, do you believe in a God?
Saying Jesus in the form A is
Okay.
Analogous is to say Trump is president. Their president being used is more analogous to the term, like to say Jesus is God, right? But to say that Trump is president, right, is to you can infer that Trump is a president, right? In the same way that if you say Jesus is God, and you can understand that in terms of whatever relation you want, identity, relative, whatever you want, and you don't infer from that.
Bro, what is that? And whatever identity relations you want, relative identity. What did he say there?
Bro, you just,
He
I
was
don't
trying
know.
to say relative identity, like he was just trying to say whatever
Just
category.
Okay.
More analogous to the term, like to say Jesus is God, right? But to say that Trump is president, right, is to, you can infer that Trump is a president, right? In the same way that if you say Jesus is God, and you can understand that in terms of whatever relation you want, identity, relative, identity, whatever you want, and you don't infer from that Jesus is a God, right? Then I just think that...
Well, that's precisely the point. If you infer this from a particular framework, let's just say like it's an identity statement being made, then either you're equivocating upon identity when you make it analogous to like Trump being president, or you can't infer that he is a God in the same way that Trump is a president. So I don't know what that means.
It's like me.
Well, I feel like you don't comprehend my analogy. The analogy is speaking about identity relations, right? So the whole point is that if we have a statement, right, it could be in the form A is a B. The point is that we reject this kind of formulation in regards to the Trinity. When we're saying Jesus is God, right, the is there is going to be of identity, not of predication. So when you're given an example of president to be some kind of adjectival predicate in relation to the person, that implies that there isn't going to be an identity relation there. So the question that I'm asking you again, Danny, when we're speaking about identity relation, is it going to be the case that Jesus is a God or Jesus is God in our position?
Well, both would have to be true. And I think it is analogous, again, right?
That's false. Both would not have to be true unless you're equivocating upon what identity means here. I don't know why Danny is saying both.
Trump is president, right? You could understand that in terms of identity, right?
You could understand that in terms of identity, but it's not a statement of identity. I think Danny just keeps, like, again, trying to merge conventional language with, like, I don't know, I suppose semantic entailments.
President refers is a specific title that, you know, the president of the United States, right? That's what president can mean, right? It's the one and only president of the United States in the way that God, capital G God, is the one and only little g God, right? After all,
who the hell is the little g God?
Bro, I don't know, bro.
God is a...
I'm confused. What does this even mean? I gotta back this up. Because what the heck does that mean?
President refers is a specific title that, you know, the president of the United States, right? That's what president can mean, right? It's the one and only president of the United States in the way that God, capital G God, is the one and only little g God, right?
God, capital G God, is the one and only little g God? Any atheists want to explain to me what that means?
Just one more time. Oh, shut up, Deanna. Take it back a little bit.
Sorry, I'm just confused what that means.
Understand that in terms of identity, right? Where president refers is a specific title that, you know, the president of the United States, right? That's what president can mean, right? It's the one and only president of the United States in the way that God, capital G God, is the one and only little g God, right?
God, capital G God, is the one and only little g God.
Bro, just jumping there, bro.
I have no clue what you're saying.
Look at this LARPer shift God of Africa trying to make it make sense.
I don't know, bro.
But you're saying that the same God that is the capital G God is the lowercase g God.
Makes no sense because normally means that they're not the same being, but I don't know, but that makes no sense there.
I don't know what that means. Hey, it's incoherent. If I say it's incoherent and I don't think anybody else knows what it means, then let's just...
I guess it's incoherent. I'm not using Danny's logic. But wait, carry on playing.
I'm trying to be charitable. I replayed it 6 times to be charitable. It still doesn't make sense.
The Shekian is not 6 times. The hell?
Yo, that was crazy.
Like what? Okay, let me play it.
Oh, capital G God is a God, the one true one. Okay, so it is going to be analogous. You could understand Trump as equaling president, right? But that would still mean that he's a president.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Is that an indefinite description or a definite description? When we have the definite...
This is where the dodging begins, anyway.
When we have the indefinite article A.
That's an indefinite description.
Okay, so when we have indefinite description, does it mean that it can range over many individuals?
Yeah, yeah. Mhm.
Okay, but that's not how we formulate what's it called, natural language statements in regard to the Trinity, because it cannot be the case that the term God can be instances of that term God, right? Because in fact, the term God just signifies the one undivided nature, which would mean that if we say that Christ is God by identity, we're just saying that they're going to be one and the same thing in reality. So when you're given this kind of formulation about, oh, Jesus is a God, the Father is a God, the Holy Spirit is a God, right, we're not committed to that. So can you please give me an argument of why I would be committed to that, or any Trinitarian?
That you're a theist. A theist believes that there's at least one God.
We're committed to that because a theist believes that there's at least one God. No, we only believe that there's one God.
We don't say at least.
I mean, wait, not every theist, but I suppose in terms of your interlocutor, unless he's just like making an argument about the broad theists.
In that within theism, right, the a God is going to be a kind of formulation regarding to natural language, which we're going to be committed to. So can you please give me an argument of why I'll be committed to that?
Well, again, it's not so much an argument, so much an empirical claim that Christians believe in a God, right? They believe in the one true God, right? And to say that the one true God is a God, to deny that rather, is just to make you an atheist.
Is there a distinction between an empirical claim and a grammatical sentence?
Well, I'm saying it's an empirical claim because I'm making a claim about how people use the language typically.
You didn't answer my question. Is there a distinction between a grammatical sentence and empirical claim?
I guess so, yeah.
Okay, so we're talking about the grammatical sentence. It is a God, right? That grammatical sentence isn't going to be something which any Trinitarian is going to be committed to. So can you please provide
I don't see
us
that.
like
I
this
don't
kind
see
of
why that would
form?
be true.
Because you're saying that we're committed to that. We're saying that isn't the case. So can you please give us motivation for us to accept
Yeah,
that
look, I'll
kind
just
of
ask you
natural
the
language
question.
statement?
I'll just ask you a question. Do you believe in a God?
I don't believe. And what does A mean here?
Okay. Is there some God that you believe in?
Is there some God that I believe in? Yeah.
Okay, and then some God, you understand that that's not definite.
Of course.
Some
Because
is almost, you can almost understand some as they're interchangeable. If there's some dog out there that's yours, that there's a dog that, right? So it looks
Yeah.
like you just kind of walked back your claim right there.
Oh, let me tell you why that isn't the case. When we remember earlier, I said to you that the term God signifies the one undivided nature. So when we're saying there's some God, we're just saying there's some one undivided nature. That isn't going to be multiplied. You know that, right?
I don't understand the point. The point is
Now he doesn't understand the
Well,
point.
pause it. Because if some God, this means that there exists an entity which is God, then it means that it cannot be multiplying, right? Because entities, of course, are going to be individually unique, right? Individual entities cannot be multiplying. But remember, if we're treating a God to be a predicate, right, it can be multiplied. There could be multiple individuals in which the predicate attaches to. So that's the distinction.
Yeah, that's still not an argument as to why a Trinitarian will be committed to the statements of a God, the grammatical statement of a God. I'm not understanding Danny's point here. Maybe I'm lost in the sauce.
No, his point is because I gave him the response. In fact, let me actually show you the source here, right? She must agree with him.
Yeah, I have to change the format. Wait. And then he just okay, I got what he was saying about, okay, you believe that there is some God, and makes the analogy with some dog out there, which means a God, a dog is out there. But then I think that would be just treating some. What is this?
Yeah, so you read this. I want to read the second section. This is a section on Bertrand Russell indefinite description. That's why I asked him that question. So it says here, perhaps indefinite descriptions are quantifiers in some linguistic constructions and predicates in others. For example, when we have, let's say, some man, right? That just means there's an individual, which is a man. But then when I have a statement like, let's say professor, right, is a man isn't being treated as an existential quantifier, but a predicate, right? So I can be committed to some God exists, but that doesn't mean I'm committed to the linguistic
Jesus is a
construction.
God.
Jesus is a God,
Okay, got it.
right? You get what I'm saying?
Okay.
That's why I
Yeah,
was like, yeah,
that's
this guy.
why I was lost in why treating some and a interchangeably, which I don't think like the meaning is interchangeable here in terms of this conversation. Saying that there is some God which exists, and then saying, well, then you would also be committed to the grammatical statement, there is a God, Jesus is a God. I still don't know how that's
Because of
equivalent.
my God works differently. I'm giving you, Bertrand Russell is not a Christian. If I remember correctly, he's an atheist. So he's speaking about this is philosophy of language right here. So this is not even talking about the Trinity at all. So what I'm saying is something which is devoid from any theological commitments. We're saying that when we have the term a God, right, that just means they exist in an entity which is God. But then when we have let's say Eric is a God or G1 is a God is being treated as a predicate. I'm saying that I reject it being treated as a predicate when we're looking at linguistic constructions in relation to the three persons. So we don't say the Father is a God, the Son is a God, the Holy Spirit is a God. That treats a God to be treated as a predicate, but we believe that the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit are identical to God. So there isn't going to be predication, but identity.
Yeah, so then like essentially just saying some God exists, right? Wouldn't automatically commit you to the statement that Jesus is a God, because
Exactly.
one what would mean like one would just assert the existence of at least like one thing that satisfies this description, and the other one would imply or predicate like class membership, right?
Exactly. That's why I was very disappointed when this guy who has a master's degree in philosophy didn't even understand the distinction. I was just like, oh my goodness, bro.
He's just not granting your paradigms because your God works differently. Like
This
Hey,
is not a Christian.
Kayla,
It's
this is
not a
not
Christian
Trinitarian
paradigm.
commitment. What are you
That's her
talking about?
favorite word is paradigm.
Kayla, do you think that Kayla, do you think that what's it called, Bertrand Russell's view in the scriptures is a Christian commitment?
No, not necessarily. I'm asking the way that you started the argument. It's not this
Kay,
particular part. It's from the beginning.
Kayla, you're not listening. When you was talking about some God, a God, and you're trying to make me
Nobody's
accept these
listening.
linguistic constructions, I was given a response from Bertrand Russell. Who's not a Christian. So how could it be a Christian thing if I'm using non-Christian resources to show that what I'm saying isn't ad hoc, Kayla K? Like what? Makes no sense. But yeah, Kiana, make your thing big sweet. Like what? This guy's not even a Christian that I'm using. Like what?
Thank you.
Yeah, Kiana, make your. I like the stuff.
Sorry. Okay. Um. Okay. All right. Let's continue. I think I skipped it too far. My phone was on like the fast forward button, so I can't remember where we were at. But like somewhere around 30 minutes. Let me see.
Some God, a God, that's just signifying and suppositing that one concrete.
Yo, what's up, Romello? By the way, sorry. Hey.
G1, is your debate today?
Well, what debate? What debate? What are you talking
Where
about?
do you want to go?
Oh no.
What y'all
My
discussing
Mateus,
yesterday?
yeah, Mateus ran away, bro. I told him we could do when they endorse his lab. He said, but Allah would be the mod. I said no. I said you can choose anyone else. I said you could choose Unitarian Christian. You can choose Purify. Any like Unitarian. I don't really care, right? Which is reasonable. He said no. Then he said I can reject your whole. I said good for you. I don't really care. You don't have to debate me. I don't really care.
Yo, he
So
always.
he declined because of that?
Yeah, he declined because Halal Christian couldn't be a mod. And then he said, oh yeah, but what about Danny? I said, you're not Danny. Like what? Danny accepted it. He could have declined or someone else. That I don't know what you're talking about. But
Okay,
yeah,
that's what's up.
Karen playing it, Kiana.
Don't mute B1. What the heck?
You muted B1, bro. You muted my brother. You muted my little brother, man. What the heck? But yeah, Karen playing.
Yo, don't mute him. Unmute B1 right now.
Yeah, I muted him.
Alright, I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna play it.
But then when you say Jesus is a God, the Holy Spirit is a God, that's going to be a different description, right?
It means something different.
Okay, so we can be committed to believing there's a God, there's some God, but we don't have to be committed to believing that Jesus is a God, the Father is a God, and the Holy Spirit is a God. In fact, when you go into what's it called, Trinitarian theology, they offer the semantics by which we can actually formulate natural language statements, so there isn't going to be any ambiguity that you try to provide and confuse everyone here.
No, you see, just because they're different for instance, the statement that...
Ooh, he agrees that they're different. W concession. By the way, I missed this in the debate. He agrees that they're different statements. Yeah, so they're gonna have different commitments. So you can be committed to one without being committed to the other.
I'm telling you.
I'm a bachelor, and the statement that I am unmarried are two different statements. But if you're committed to me being a bachelor, then you're committed to me being unmarried, even though they're two different statements, right? So just to say that so in other words, your inference that because they mean two different things, right? They're two different statements. Therefore, you're not committed to one. If you're committed to the other, right, is just silly, right? At the end of the day, just take the president example. So we can say that Trump is equal to president, right? And then that implies that if you believe that he's president, then you believe that there is a president of the United States, right? Or a president that you believe in, right? In the same way, you believe in God. Jesus is God, right? And that...
Wait, technically you can be committed to the statement. You could wait. Technically, like let's say you're from the UK. You can say Trump is a president and you can be committed to that statement insofar as Trump is the president of the United States, but you can also like not be committed to the statement Trump is the president because he's not the president of your country. I don't know.
Yeah, what you're saying does not make sense because the point is, right, if you're saying that President Donald Trump is identical, then you can't say a president because the reason why it's not going to be malformed correctly. And what I mean by malformed is that it's not really correct grammatically if you think about it, because for example, right, you wouldn't say a G1. And the reason why you wouldn't say a G1 because it implies that there could be many G1s, right? So if the president and Donald Trump is one and the same thing in reality, then it cannot be the case where you can say a president because president and Donald Trump would be the same thing in reality. But the same way you wouldn't say there's a Peter Parker because there isn't many Peter Parkers. There's only one particular Peter Parker. So it wouldn't be correct. So you just incorrect. You just know
And
what he's talking
also,
about.
he would have to prove. He would also have to prove that God, right? Let's say, like as used in Jesus, whenever you make the statement, Jesus is God, is like I suppose definitionally equivalent to the predicate a God, because the example he's giving with bachelor, right? That of course that's an entailment because bachelor just means unmarried man, right? So of course if you're committed to Danny as a bachelor, you're committed to Danny being an unmarried man, but then you would have to prove the same for Jesus is a God.
Exactly. Because the reason why you can say the term because the term God is typically treated as a general term, not a proper name. So the reason why you can say a God, some God, and you can't say some Kiana, right, or a Kiana, is because Kiana is going to be a proper name, whereas God is going to be a general term. So you can actually configure those kind of statements, and it'll be actually grammatically correct. So Danny, this is poor, bro. Be wrong. Yo, Jim, why didn't you give the objection? What objection? Because that's what I was thinking. I gave the objection earlier. He just kept reiterating the same silly thing, bro. And I can't lie, what Danny loves to do, he kind of sometimes deviate from what's being asked, right? And sometimes I can kind of forget. Because I ain't gonna lie, I was walking in my room, I'll be wrong. I was walking in my room the whole time. So I was really trying to focus on what he was saying and kind of like remove all of the unnecessary stuff and not really adjust that so we don't really shift to some useless topic. But yeah. But yeah, carry on, player.
Wait, do you remember the statement real quick? Do you remember the statement Danny made about like the capital G God as the one and only like little G God?
Yeah, I heard, bro. You know what it is? I actually don't remember him saying that. I think I was just like, this guy's just yapping. So I just, because I think he didn't answer my question, so I didn't really care about what he was currently saying there. So I just like, I wasn't really listening to that. I wasn't listening to that. I ain't gonna lie. Because,
Yeah, so
mhm.
okay. So like Danny said, the capital G God is the one and only little g God. But wouldn't God here, like capital G God, like pick out a specific entity that would like satisfy this, I suppose, this noun predicate a God? Wouldn't this be a concession, the lowercase a God? Wouldn't this be a concession to his own point that he's making right now?
Basically, yeah.
Because this would be like the identity to predicate link.
hmm Precisely. And it's so fun. But this is why I really hate fill of language debate, because with fill of language, right, it gets very, very technical. You get what I'm saying? Of course, people have like a basic understanding of it, but it really gets technical and what this is being constructed as and all of that type of stuff. And sometimes it's like, for example, metaphysics, right? We debate metaphysics, so we know what essence is, all of this type of stuff. The ordinary person doesn't know what essence is, right? But since we always debate that kind of like area, we have like some common understanding of what it is, right? Fill of lang isn't something which we typically debate about. So when there's disputes about all of this type of stuff, people are not really like kind of like getting it. You get what I'm saying? But it's just poor for Danny, because Danny he has a master's degrees. He teaches people on fill of religion. He teaches people on fill of lang. So him making these kind of like blunders and mistakes, it's just poor. It's just very poor. I'm
No,
not trained in
wait.
philosophy at all.
I didn't remember this. I was missing a lot, like when the debate was happening. Wait, do you get what I'm saying about Danny's initial point? Now, like the
About
capital G
the
God
capital
thing is
G and the
making
little G
sense.
God.
He said
Yeah,
capital G God is the one and only little g God, right? That would work
yeah.
against his own argument that he's giving right now, because he's literally admitting that the capital G God, which would be like the proper name, right, refers to the
Mm.
specific thing that fits that description.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
That's a
That's,
concession.
that's what he's talking about. Do you know what it is? I ain't gonna lie. If I didn't read philosophy or language, I would have got cooked. Wallahi. If I didn't, because what did I tell you, Ken? I was gonna read philosophy language. Was it like a month ago or a couple weeks ago?
Mm,
Yeah,
what was
like
it?
if I
Yeah, it
didn't
was
read,
like a month ago. I
if
remember this.
yeah, if I didn't read into this type of stuff, I would have fell into the traps that this guy was putting me in. But because I read philosophy of language, I was paying attention to the linguistic constructions and what he was chanting for, all of that type of stuff more
No,
precisely.
that's not the point, Kayla. Danny made a statement earlier, right? Capital G God is the one and only little g God, right? So the proper name refers to the specific thing that would fit this description, right? Well, that would satisfy this description, God. And this is like the proper name versus like common noun thing. And what he's arguing with G1 at this point, I'll back it up a little bit. He's literally arguing against his own initial point that he made. He's literally conceded to his own point that he made initially. I'll back it up. Wait.
No one said the proper name belongs to each person individually. No one said that. But look, the whole point is I don't have to explain these things because it's common knowledge within philosophy of language and grammar. So that's why I'm not going to explain every blunder in detail of what's really occurring in the discussion between me and Danny, because one, that's just going to waste time, and two, I'm trying to really get to the meat of the meat of the topic.
Because he's trying to, Kayla, you get what I'm saying? He's trying to say that G1 has to be committed to saying Jesus is a God, right? Which would mean like God is just a common noun predicate that would apply to individuals like president, right? You get that part?
I mean, I get what you were saying. I
Right.
think that I get what
Was
you were
he
saying.
was getting
I just
cooked,
think that
bro. He was getting
no,
beat
he
up.
wasn't.
He was
He
getting beat
was
up. No,
not
no.
getting cooked.
He was
He
getting
literally went back. He literally, if you understand what like I'm saying, Danny said, he literally cooked himself. That wasn't even G1. That was a
yeah.
self cook.
Yeah, he did self cook himself as well. Bro, you gotta understand, look, Danny isn't it's not high tier, bro. Like he's not a high tier
Not too much.
atheist.
Danny's smart. Danny is smart.
He's smart. He's smart. That doesn't mean he's a high tier debater. He's a smart guy. I give him that, but he's not a high tier debater. Like there's other guys who are better than him. I would say Cap is better than him. Wait, wait, Cap is not
I think
atheist.
Kylo's not Cap and Kylo are not atheists, but I think they're
They're
I don't
better.
know. Like intelligence is an interesting word, so I'll just say like they have more knowledge on a variety of things.
Yeah, and the debating skills is far much better than Danny because they actually argue against the substance.
No, Danny
Danny,
wasn't giving belt in regards to substance. Danny was doing the whole rhetoric thing. Y'all know G1 doesn't have good rhetoric. He doesn't really do.
wait, okay, that was that. Okay, that was that.
Wait,
Not
I'm
you
not.
want literally
Sorry,
uses
sorry.
rhetoric. Like, stop.
No. She
Wait,
said I don't have good rhetoric. That's
I
what
said
came
his
out.
rhetoric isn't good. So like Danny was like, "Oh, you blundered there," but like, look, the point is this: G1 corrected himself, but Danny said it was a blunder and then hinged on that. So Danny knows how to work the crowd. You know, if somebody like misspeaks or make a mistake, sorry, it's just your rhetoric. Your rhetoric is the best rhetoric you have is no rhetoric, because like you're known to be like calm and stuff like that. You feel me? Like call somebody a donut here and there, but that's about it. That's that's your rhetoric is good like that.
Because you know it's a difference in two. Yeah, because I can be committed to one or the other. That's legit how it's understood within like opaque and intentional contexts. Is like you can be committed to one belief and not the other, even though in reality it's the same thing. So if he's conceded to the fact that these two statements are different, right, then it's possible for me to be committed to one and not the other. So that's just a concession there.
Literally,
People saying they conceded.
that's a self cook. That's a self cook. I can't believe Danny. So I listen. I didn't catch this during the debate. I didn't catch this. Danny like literally Danny tried to end up like trying to say Jesus has to, not Jesus. G1 has to accept that G1 is God like, as a straight predication. But then he also acknowledges that this proper name versus common noun thing that would explain why that inference doesn't follow at all. Danny's self cooked.
He got cooked, bro. That's why I was like, bro, like, it would, I ain't gonna lie, at this point, I was getting annoyed because I wanted him to give me the indexical argument. I wanted him to give me the LPT. I wanted him to give me certain that we can, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't like this whole semantical game that Danny was playing.
Yo, Gino was funny. Gino was like, I noticed he left the substance out. When you gave the definition of persons, you said individual or rational nature. Gino was like, I noticed he left the substance out. Yo, I was crying.
What? She don't be yapping, I swear down, bro.
I was crying.
Bro, you know she lost so much aura when she came in the panel. When she asked me that question, everyone was like, wait, what?
Wait, what question did he ask?
Is Jesus the only true God? Is that a true statement under like soul? Yeah, like what? Like,
Jesus is the only true God. Is that statement true under relative identity? I think wasn't Gina's point that God is treated as a predicate, like under our
No. She was trying to say that under soul, like God, right? If we have Jesus, right, under that soul, can we like make some statement that Jesus is the only true God and be true under that? I listened to it because I was trying to see if it was a trap question, right? But then I was overthinking. I said, "Wait, she just asked me, do I believe that Jesus is the only?"
Nah,
Yeah, I
bro.
do. Yeah, I realized. I said, "What?" It's like Kiana. Imagine someone asking you, "Are you a Christian?" But they know you, and they're like, "Wait, why are you asking that?"
I think
It's just weird.
no. I think because I was reading her comments as well. I think her point was right, and obviously there's going to be a different context in which you say God is not a predicate, right? But I think her point was that under RI, God is treated as a predicate. So saying that God here is not going to be a predicate was just kind of like going back on what you're committed to, because like
Oh
under RI,
the
that's an
soul,
ordinary
the term.
predicate.
No, the term God wouldn't be a predicate. Would be a general. It would be a general term. There'll be predicates which is associated with the general term, but the term God wouldn't be a predicate because they were saying with the term God is going to be a sort of predicate. Then in what soul is that sort of predicate have a relation to? God, that makes no sense. So God wouldn't be treated as a sort of predicate within I in this case. Yeah, it's true. It can be treated as one, but no one's saying that in this case it is. So her
That's what
point
I'm
just didn't really
saying.
make sense.
There's going to be like there's obviously the context is different in which you would say God is being treated as predicate, and then like when we make this statement about God is not being treated as a predicate. So it's just like different context, but I think maybe she misunderstood what you were saying.
Bro, She gotta read some books, man. But yeah, carry on,
Yo,
please.
keep liking my live. Why y'all stop liking the live? Lazy. As heck. Okay, let me continue.
Implies that you believe in a God. If you believe in God but don't believe in a God, that would be like saying and believing in the president but don't believe in a president.
Okay, cool. So let me address the earlier point that you made earlier. So you said that a bachelor means unmarried man, right?
Yeah.
Is that going to be true by definition?
Yeah.
And then what does, when you read any like, what's it called, individual?
Yo, I'm not gonna lie, you pissed me off when you kept saying
Yeah, I
married
ain't gonna lie.
man.
Yeah, I ain't
Like,
gonna lie. No, you know, you're right. You're
all
right.
the way off.
I did dwell upon that fact. You know what it is? I can't lie. I wasn't looking at I was walking around my room, so I wasn't looking at the time. You get what I'm saying? So I did kind of like feel that I was kind of dwelling upon that point a little too long, but I didn't know how long it was. So when you actually refigured the conversation, I was like, okay, cool, let me like lock in and try to attack him from more of a substance point of view and not just like speak about the language aspect for too
I've
long.
literally been debating like fill of language for 25 minutes. Like people in
25
comments were like,
minutes.
"Ma, do something," and I was like, at 25 minutes, like I'll do something. Like when it's 25 minutes, but then y'all were not moving on from this thing, and then you kept saying married man instead of unmarried man. I was like, yo,
Yeah, I was blundering there because I was trying to like think about what was. Now I was trying to think about a statement, and bro, I ain't gonna lie. My thoughts, right? I think too fast. I think faster than when I'm speaking. Yeah, my thoughts are faster than my speech. You get what I'm saying? So sometimes I'm thinking ahead. So sometimes it's like kind of muddled up a little bit. So that's what really occurred in the situation. But the point was,
it's
yeah.
not a blunder. It's just that Danny kept trying to like. Danny was like, "Oh, you mean unmarried man?" And you were like, "Yeah, unmarried man." Then you went back to saying married man. I was like, "Yo."
no, that's funny. But the point was is that when we have two statements, right, and these two statements are just analytically true, and they express the same proposition, then it just means that they mean the same thing, right? Just given like Ross's understanding of like meaning. That was the whole point that I was trying to get at, but I didn't articulate it properly. I didn't really articulate
Yeah,
it
I'm gonna
properly.
play it. I'm gonna play it.
You can put 1.2
Even
speed in.
he makes a difference between synthetic truths and analytical truths. And what's an analytical truth, Danny? An analytical truth is going to be a statement which is true by definition, right?
Sure.
Okay, so if you have two statements and they have the same, right, and they're both analytical truths and they have the same definition, do they mean the same thing?
If you have two statements and they have the same definition, say that again.
If we have two, so we understand analytical statements are going to be true by definition. If we have two analytical statements, right, and they have the same kind of definition, does it not mean the same thing? The two statements mean the same thing in this case?
Are you just asking me if like there's like some kind of identity between the two?
Bruh, I hate when Danny does this. Like, you know what's being
Yes.
said here. You have two statements, two analytical statements, and they're true by definition. Does that not mean that they mean the same thing or express the same thing? Danny
If
talks
they have
about.
the same, if they have the same
Are you
definition.
just saying that? Yo, Danny, you're smarter than this. I don't know. I don't like when he plays these games, but let me play it.
I know it's getting you array.
One statement, right? Bachelor, right? A bachelor just means an unmarried man, and we have another statement which just states a bachelor is a married man. Those two statements, do they mean something different?
Did you say bachelor's and unmarried man? Then you said bachelor's and unmarried man?
Propose that.
Nah, bro, I'm not pausing it because you keep saying it. We're gonna count how many times you said married man, bro. Because I was genuinely.
I blundered, bro. I kept saying married. I meant to say unmarried man.
Yo, I was gonna come off mute like, bro, a bachelor is an unmarried man. Stop saying married man.
I have a second statement, a married and a married man.
Bachelor's in a statement.
And just
You stopped yourself to correct yourself and said married man again.
like this will put the context for a bachelor is an unmarried man. I mean, a bachelor is a unmarried man.
Bro.
We rapping.
To be the same thing.
The term bachelor is used interchangeably with the expression unmarried man. Yeah, those are, but you can have analytic statements that are not that way, right?
Yeah, but if you read Quine speaks about analyticity, and he speaks about two kinds of analyticity. there's going to be truth by synonymy and truth in relation to logical truths. And when we have
anything.
Because your point is that if you have two statements, right, even though the term, right, is going to be different from another term within a given statement, then that's going to imply that the two statements are different in meaning. That's your point, right?
No, I was just showing you made an inference that if you have two statements that are different, right, they're not the same statement, and if you accept the first statement, right, you're not committed to the second statement, right? But there are cases where the definition example I gave is a counterexample. I'm not saying that's what's going on here. It's just a counterexample.
Yep. No. Okay, so you can see to the fact that when we have two statements such as...
Bro, what the hell is Danny even saying?
He didn't. I don't think what I was saying, but he was trying to say with the counterexample. Did you know when the whole a God, not the a God, Jesus is a God? So my point is that those.
No, that's my entire point. If Danny's saying that it's possible and he's not saying that that's the case here, what the hell is your argument then? What's the contention?
If you're saying it's possible, then
You're saying that it could. Nobody's saying that it couldn't be. Nobody said that. Nobody in this debate has said that it couldn't be the case.
Yeah, no one said it couldn't be the case.
Yeah, it doesn't add. That just means that if he makes a statement that he's committed to this while not being committed to the next statement, right? Danny gave a counter example of something that's true by definition, which isn't really a counter example. It's like in the entailment, like an unmarried man and a bachelor is expressing the same thing, right? Whereas Jesus is God and Jesus is a God is not going to be equivalent to an unmarried man and a bachelor. So, yeah, it didn't add anything to the argument. That's my point.
The same thing, because that's the charge which you made earlier.
You mean that we concede what?
You said if we have two statements, right, a bachelor and an unmarried man, these statements don't mean the same thing. That's the charge that you posited in relation to the
statement that I interrupted. Did you want to?
No, go on.
Okay, the statement that a bachelor is unmarried man is a distinct statement from a bachelor is unmarried.
Is it distinct to meaning? Is it distinct to meaning?
Yeah, they're
Betches unmarried. That's not what I said, bro.
Yo, Danny pulled that out of the side of his neck. Who made a distinction between a bachelor is unmarried and a bachelor is an unmarried man? Yo, he did it on purpose.
So bachelor. I'm confused. So you're saying that a bachelor doesn't mean married man, and a married man doesn't mean a bachelor?
Oh my gosh! Look, it's not hard to say that bachelor is unmarried man.
I told you, Danny ran. Danny ran with the fact that you kept misspeaking on the unmarried man, married man. I told you he was gonna run with it.
That the expression unmarried man and bachelor are used interchangeably. However, it's not the case the term bachelor and unmarried are used interchangeably. However, when you say a bachelor is unmarried, it's still analytic. It's not hard to understand.
I'm not saying that isn't analytic. The point is I'm saying it doesn't have the same kind of meaning. Because if I say to someone that this individual is a bachelor, and then I say this individual is a married man, I'm not indicating the same kind of meaning, even though I'm using different kinds of terminologies.
The same kind of meaning. Oh, look, what does this have to do with the overall point? This was just
my point earlier is that just because we're committed, we can be committed to the idea that a God just defines the word.
Yeah, here I lost all right, when here I lost all when I was
the married man thing. Yeah.
I lost already. Even if I wasn't wrong, like in the situation what I was trying to pick up, I lost already. Yo, Kiana, you're on mute.
Intermission. I'll be right back.
You missed
it. Yo, entertain the crowd. Answer a comment.
Do I look like I just to you? That's crazy. That's crazy. You hear that, people? Kiana sees me as a jester.
Yo, answer the comments questions, Jester. No, I'm just playing.
I said answer the comments questions. So now you think I'm cursing out as well? Yo. But yeah, man, no, you didn't miss. Boy, yeah, you did miss the debate. debate occurred like on Saturday.
G1, don't try to help Shikiana. Shikiana, what's the technical difficulty? She's stuck. That was a good debate, though, G1. I enjoyed it, brother. I really did.
I enjoyed it, bro.
Like,
No,
I really want to see the one you and Gumbo, though, man. I wish y'all could get that together. That'll be a
bro,
nice
like
one as
that, bro. He
well.
only wants Halal to be a host of one, bro. I don't know what's this guy's obsession with Halal Christian, bro. It's kind of like creepy at them, bro. No one else to be host, bro. Like I even said, even it's so funny because even after the live, I said, yeah, I'm not gonna host a debate on Halal Christian's live, bro.
Wait, why? What happened?
Bro,
That's
like
what he wanted it. Oh,
like
go
in the
ahead, go ahead.
beginning of the debate, right? I don't know if he was there, but we set up like, Kiana was gonna be the mod, Halal was gonna be the host, and I was gonna debate Danny, right? So we had a little I made a little GC for that. And then imagine my taste is on the panel. So there's what's it called, 5 people, and my taste isn't included in the format. And then he says, well, oh yeah, I can stay here, I'm a host. Bro, you're not hosting anything. It's not your live one. And 2, they already have a mod, so practically just useless. And most people in the comments were saying, oh, drop him. So we got dropped. You feel me? But Halal Christian was like, no, like allow him being on the, no, bro. Like we just set up like this. Like, what the hell? We legit set up like this, I'll be real.
Yeah, I think people like her because she tends to stump a lot of Trinitarians. So
No, bro, I don't think a lot of people like Halal Christian. I ain't gonna lie. What in the debating community?
maybe not the debating community, but people get riled up in the comments with some of the stuff she says. So
Oh yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much what happened. And then later, Halal Christian posted saying that, oh yeah, like G1 isn't being fair with the whole like not answering Danny's questions part. But in the beginning, like Kiana mentioned it, and then Danny was like he's okay with it. But even when we're watching the videos now, he wasn't really answering my questions. So I had to keep asking him the question. And then when he asked me a question, like, do you believe in a God? I couldn't, do you know what it is? I couldn't dodge that question. I had to answer it. Because it would just make me look bad if I didn't answer the question. So I answered it. But then when I came back to asking questions to answer too, he just kept saying, I don't know about that, or I wouldn't expect that. I don't know about that. You know what I'm saying? He kept doing that. He kept doing it for the whole time. So I'm like, bro, like at that point we just tripping. How you talk to Trinity? He said Danny won. If you thinks Danny won, bro, then he's smoking. Trinity's just smoking something. Smoking, I don't know, he's taking either, he's drinking lean, he's smoking
yeah,
grass.
but I'm not gonna hold you, G1. This debate's kind of boring because y'all been on the same topic for time at this point.
The debate, I ain't gonna lie, it was more, if you're there, it wasn't as boring as other debates because it's back and forth, you feel me? So
I know,
people
but I
didn't.
swear, I feel like y'all are still talking about the one term it got. Maybe it switched because I'm kind of doing something else right now. But I thought
No,
I
we
heard y'all
still,
arguing.
why, honestly speaking, the only reason why it was boring is because you see that I'm trying to start conversation. If I sit back, right, I don't think he's actually going to give me an argument. You get what I'm saying? Like, he's not really trying to give me an argument. The whole point of this debate is for him to pressure me. Why am I pressuring him?
I don't know. I thought since you were making the affirmative that you'd have to be like actively defending why it's not the case or something.
Exactly, actively defending, but I was actively being on the offense rather being on the defense, right? He was on the defense, which makes no sense.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
You feel me? So in the first like 5 minutes, I realized that he's not trying to push, he's not trying to give arguments, he's not trying to really push arguments, but I don't give it the LPT and lexical argument. When he like metaphysical argument regarding to like the position to tell like 3 gods, he wasn't doing that. And bear in mind, this is in the first 5 minutes. I said, damn, there's gonna be 45 minutes. If I just sit back, I don't really say anything, then the debate is gonna be boring.
Well, I
Do
don't
you
know
get what I'm saying?
why he didn't just start moving on after you said I don't really affirm the like Greek god analogy and the usage of a god. Like he should have just moved on. I don't know why.
Because that's all he had. That's all
Yeah,
he
but
had
that's
to
just
argue.
like it's just like semantics and rhetoric. That's not the meat. That's I don't know. I don't think that's the core of his reasoning, or that shouldn't be as to why it's like polytheism. But
It shouldn't. It shouldn't really be that's what I'm saying. You shouldn't give like a grammatical argument. Which shouldn't be which shouldn't even be like the core of his argument, bro. Because you can make a lot of grammatical arguments utilizing I don't know, like like for example the Lies paradox.
no, I'm not familiar.
Like if I say this if I say this sentence is false, is that sentence true or false? You probably heard like
Oh,
the
okay.
version of like Pinocchio here.
I mean, I kind of know. It's just like this guy is telling
Yo,
the
why
truth,
is
and then the other
Central
guy's like,
Sperm
"Oh,
in
this
here?
other guy's lying." It's like,
No,
well, is it
that's
true or
essential.
lying? Yeah, I get the
Bro,
paradox.
central sperm, bro.
Yo, why is Central Sperm in here?
Bro, I
He's
swear,
G1. I started out as a sperm. Back in my day, we were all sperms.
I remember that. That was. I don't think that was a very good argument.
central sperm. It's bro, come on, bro. Like you think that we were all sperms at one point, bro? I don't know what you're talking about, bro.
This guy
That's
thinks he was a baby as a sperm. Like he thinks sperms are children.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you on that one.
Yo, I started out as a sperm. It definitely didn't start out as a sperm, bruh. I'm just being honest. You're just being honest, so you're being honest about the sperm thing. So you
Yeah,
used
but
to
I
be a
don't know.
sperm.
you can
Like
get
I don't even think
what
like
do you
sperm's
want,
not even
bro? I'm just being
qualified as a human being yet. Like at conception is when the human DNA seems to form. It's not when it's just sperm. That doesn't seem to be the case.
Yeah, bro. Nobody starts out as a sperm. Now, if you mean like humans are like created or like come into being from like a sperm and an egg, sure, but you don't start out until that sperm meets the egg. So you ain't start as a sperm, buddy.
I'm telling you. But look, the reason why I was getting fairly frustrated here is because with semantical disputes, it can get really, really vague. It can get very, very, very vague. It can get very, very muddied. It can just confuse people, right? Because some people are not really like for example, Central Dar, he's trash when it comes to grammar. So like someone trying to like listen into this debate, you probably think what Danny's saying is the case. You feel me?
Yo, I'm telling you, 65% of the people in the chat were not tracking. They were just like eating up. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it was just like they were either glazing G1 or glazing Danny. And neither side was tracking.
Yeah, there's only like a few people who, were checking and whatnot. But that's why I got really annoyed. That's why I feel like near the end, it kind of went to like metaphysics and more people more familiar with that area. So I pressed them there a little bit.
That's
Well,
how
you
we
can
gotta
reckon-
do these. That's how we gotta do these reviews. That's how it always be. Exactly. That's why we gotta do these reviews so we can break it down to the layman. You feel me? Because I'm a layman as well, but I like to help my fellow laymen because they just don't be tracking, bruh.
Yeah, like people like Central there. But you know where it is? That means next time in this debate, I'm just gonna and I think next time I'm just gonna push them on the substance. You feel me? Just go to I'll be like, do you have any metaphysical argument? Do you have any logical argument? If you don't, then because you know where it is.
Literally, do not
But
don't entertain that fellow language, bro.
but,
Like,
but
that
Kiana,
just gets us nowhere.
do you know why I couldn't do that?
I mean, you
The-
could have. You could
No,
have.
no,
You could
but
have
you know
just been
why?
like, you could have done what he did, because Danny was like, yo, what does this have to do with the conversation? I would have just been pressing like, yo, do you have an argument against the LPT? Can you like formalize the argument? Can you verbalize it? Because this is not getting anywhere.
But Kiana, do you know why I didn't do that? I knew the conversation was gonna end in 20 minutes.
Yeah,
If I
because
pressed
I
him,
wasted the
if
first 30 minutes of the debate.
exactly,
I
it would have. If I just pressed him to give me a verbal argument, the conversation would have ended in 20 minutes. You get what I'm saying? But then I
Yeah.
realized if I do that, then like really and truly, I don't think Danny has an argument. And even if I respond to the argument in the span of 20 minutes, 50 minutes,
Yeah.
it's like we have like what's it called, 25 to 30 minutes to go. So it's like what we're gonna do for the rest. So I was like, okay, cool. Let me just kind of build it up. You feel me? So kind
Yeah.
of build it up a little bit.
Yo, somebody need to get me that filioque debate because I refuse to download this app just for one debate.
No, you won't get it. You have to ask Auntie.
Bruh, Eli, like, bruh, that was in my head, but that was too childish for me to say.
Dude's crazy. Wait, who's Dudu?
Nah, you just said if I do that.
Oh.
Yo, that's childish. Childish. Shame on you, Eli. Shame on you.
No, you thought you just did sick.
Yo, I need that filioque debate just for shits and giggles. Excuse my language.
That's the funniest debate I've ever seen, bro. I need to see that again, bro. I need to see it from the beginning to the end, bro.
Bro, I need to see that. Somebody get me that debate. Somebody get me the filioque debate. Yo, you know this girl is debating again. Like, just doesn't learn her lesson.
I told her that
Can't stop, won't stop.
I told her that she needs to quit debating, bro. She can't be debating. But yeah, play the video. Just skip it to 1.2 because I ain't gonna lie, just you know.
Yeah, bro, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna go to the middle of the debate because this whole debating over language thing is
No,
getting
skip
old.
it. Put you can put 1.2 speed or 1.5 if you can track.
If I can try. Oh, excuse me.
No, I'm saying like if you can track the speed because I don't know, like you know sometimes like people.
I'm gonna put it at 25 minutes because that's when I told you guys to get to substance.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Right, whereas in relations to three persons, right, the three persons are going to be identified with the divine nature. That's the whole point.
I guess I don't get it. So if some pagan said, "Hey, Hades was
Yo, this is gonna make me laugh. I'm gonna put the speed faster.
No.
Wait.
and Zeus share the same divine existence," why would that be false?
No one's saying it wouldn't be false. If they have a framework by which what's it called, illustrates that, then sure.
No,
we
it
can
would
accept
be.
that.
It would have to be false if you agree that there are three gods there.
No,
right?
it would have to be false if I agree with this three gods. But if someone stipulates some what's it called parallel regarding to the Trinity by which they indicating that Poseidon, Greek, and all of these other Greek gods are going to be like sharing the divine existence of nature, then that wouldn't follow in that respect.
Okay, so then I think another way to phrase the question is, what's the contradiction in saying there's exactly one god and saying that what would be the contradiction in saying that there are three gods and yet Hades, Poseidon, and Zeus share the same divine existence?
What's the contradiction for there to be three gods and they're sharing? Well, so if God there is speaking about the one undivided nature and we have three right natures, then it means that the one of the natures are going to be divided. Right?
Oh, okay, I see what you mean. Sorry, go ahead.
You see what I mean here? So they have a divided nature.
Okay, so you're saying that it would imply they have divided natures, right? Is that what you're saying?
It implies that the nature is going to be
What
divided in
implies
relation to you. If it is the case that they're going to be three individuals which possess the same species, then that which is going to be
No, they're free person.
undivided nature. Then it cannot be the case that different beings can possess the one undivided nature unless they have the same act of existence. But if it is the case that they share the same act of existence, then it can be the case that it can be three gods. That's the point.
It sounds like you're saying that, well, if they share the same, correct me if I'm wrong, you're free to interrupt. It sounds like you're saying that, well, if you say that Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades share the same divine existence, that what you're saying is that they share a nature that's undivided. That's what it sounds like you're saying. And then when you say that there's three gods, that necessarily implies that that the natures are divided, and thus you would get a contradiction. Is that your position?
Yeah, because it cannot be the case.
Okay, so I've understood your position correctly?
Yeah, to somewhat degree.
With regard to this? Okay.
Because it's impossible for us to, because what's the plurality being indexed to?
Okay, so then I don't understand what is the divided
Wait, Danny, I'm asking you a question. What is the plurality being indexed to? When we see these three gods, what does that mean?
That Zeus. So when there are three entities that have
Bruh, I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna back it up. This is where Danny starts being dishonest.
Don't tell me, bro.
That stutter was something serious.
Plurality being indexed to?
Okay, so then I don't understand what is the divided.
Wait, Danny, I'm asking you a question. What is the plurality being indexed to? When we see these three gods, what does that mean?
That Zeus. So when there are three entities that have the highest echelon of power and our superhuman abilities, power over nature and our fortunes as humans, something like that.
So three gods against three entities, and okay, so is it not the case? Is it possible that one entity can cease to exist without another entity and still be God?
That's possible. Yeah, conceptually, logically possible, sure.
Okay, then they don't have the same numerical divine existence then. Wait,
Okay.
pause it. Wait, pause it. So I didn't even use logical modality. I said,
Actually, Danny's the one that imposed it.
so he's the one who imposed it. That fish, bro. I didn't make but I just made it more precise from what I was asking. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, Danny said that one entity could cease to exist and the other entities are still in existence. That means that they don't have the same existence. That means that they have distinct existences or separate existences and separate natures.
That in the case of Hades, Poseidon, and Zeus, because it's logically possible that you could have Hades without Zeus, right? That therefore it's a divided nature. There would be multiple gods.
Yeah, it implies that there's a divided nature. It means that they have different, what's it called? They have different beings, and it means that this different nature corresponds to one individual entity that you just posited.
Okay, so then is it logically possible for there to be for the Holy Spirit to not exist and yet the Father and the Son to exist? Is that logically possible in the way that it's logically possible that Hades doesn't exist and yet Zeus and whatever his face is exist?
Repeat that again.
Is it because here's what I'm understanding you saying, because it's logically possible that Hades could not exist and yet the other two exist, or vice versa. Then you have a divided nature and you get multiplicity in gods. You have multiple gods. Well, so now this is very difficult for you because you're going to have to show why it's logically or conceptually impossible for the Holy Spirit not to exist.
Yeah, that's let me consider. When I meant logical possible, I meant metaphysically.
Oh, so by logical possibility, so you made a mistake there. You understand. So you agree?
Notice how this is self-correction, and Danny keeps saying, "Did you make a blunder though? Did you make a blunder though?"
But it's logically possible that the Holy Spirit doesn't exist, and yet the other two persons of the Trinity do exist.
Yeah, but do you believe that it's metaphysically possible for Poseidon to exist without
I'm not so sure what you mean by metaphysically impossible, but you did blunder there.
I said, is it metaphysically possible? I didn't say impossible.
I don't know how you're understanding that modality. So answer the question, but you blundered there.
What do you take metaphysical modality to be?
I don't accept metaphysical modality.
Okay, so if you don't accept metaphysical modality, okay, cool. So you don't accept.
I want to rewind to what I was saying. So you realized your mistake, right, G1?
Yeah, I know, and I corrected myself.
Okay.
So you
made a mistake.
Okay, so it's not something which you corrected me for. I constrained it to metaphysical modality for you to understand.
Yeah, you corrected yourself for the mistake
like I was saying, right? It is going to be so even if you don't understand it, I just can give you the stipulations, right? So when we talk about like metaphysical possibility, right, it just says that we have some proposition P, right, which can exist in somehow, right, because of like some because of the alignment with like the metaphysical principles, right, in virtue of that. And then when we
let's go back. Since you changed your answer, we got to go back to the Hades example. Right? So what makes it metaphysically possible, on your view, since I don't accept metaphysical modality, any metaphysical modality, what makes it metaphysically possible for Hades to not exist, but yet Zeus and Poseidon to exist?
Hades, no, that's the point. Look, you said that Hades...
Can you answer the question?
Well, the question is going to be relevant to what you asked earlier.
No, I can explain the relevance, right? The point is that you're trying to understand, you expressed to me, the reason why there are three gods is because there's some modality by which one of those persons, let's say Hades, doesn't exist and the other two do exist, right? And that's not the case with the Trinity. So now I'm asking, how do you know that it's not impossible, right? That you could have Hades and Zeus being, let's say that you have a world where every possible world you have Zeus and Poseidon, you have Hades. How are you ruling that out?
Okay, I'm asking you, is it the case where so is it the case where Zeus can exist without Hades?
Wait, if it is the case that, let's say Danny's trying to stipulate that Zeus, Hades, and Poseidon are one god, and this one god is a necessary being a stipulation of God in Danny's view?
I think that's gonna be presumed, yeah.
Yo, AP, don't get on me because I already downloaded it and sent it to somebody that can actually clip it, because I can't clip it. I can't shorten it. It's longer than I thought, and I can't send it on Discord.
Yeah.
Don't get on me.
He wants to say that when we have these two Greek gods and they exist necessarily in all possible world, then what makes it the case where they don't have the same divine existence? You can just say that, oh yeah, these two objects exist necessarily in all possible world, but that doesn't guarantee that they have the same active existence. Right? That doesn't mean like A.
Yeah, but I'm just so confused. If Hades, Poseidon, and whoever the other Hades, Poseidon, and Zeus are this necessary being, and supposedly, right, they're going to be explained as one god, then why are we saying that there's this possible world in which Hades could exist and Poseidon and Zeus couldn't exist? That wouldn't be. I mean, I guess he doesn't take like metaphysical modality, but if they are a necessary being and they necessarily exist in that way, then it's not going to be possible for Hades to not exist, where Zeus and Poseidon exist in said possible world. There's not going to be a possible world where they exist in this way. I'm confused.
Mate, what you're saying doesn't make sense, bro. Because he just doesn't know what he's talking about. You can give so many examples with like for example, physicalism, right? Yeah, you can give so many examples with for example, like in physicalism, right? There's a position where it states that everything which exists is physical, and they would say that the non-physical facts, right, are fixed, right, because the physical facts is going to be that which the non-physical facts depend upon, right? Like let's say, for example, we have consciousness, morality, and all of these type of stuff, right? If we have two identical worlds, right, the physical facts are going to be the same, then it means that the non-physical facts, like consciousness, psychology, all of that is going to be the same. But just because that's just going to be necessary in all possible worlds, that doesn't mean like consciousness, which is a non-physical fact, is a physical fact. You get what I'm saying? So just because it's necessary, it doesn't guarantee that they're one and the same thing. So Danny just saying that, oh, if you have Zeus and Poseidon, which exist necessarily in all possible worlds, that doesn't mean that Zeus and Poseidon have the same divine existence or are the same god. That doesn't guarantee that.
Yeah, exactly. But do you get what I'm saying? Like Danny's saying okay, Danny says like, oh, I reject metaphysical modality altogether. Okay, sure, but like if you have like three separate beings, right, that are to be expressed, you can let this person up if they want to be up. I don't know why they want to be up here, but if you have okay, because like one necessary being expressed in three ways, right? This would imply that you need like terms like these beings necessary, like a necessary being exists in all possible worlds, right? So if Hades, Poseidon, and Zeus are like just, I don't know, it just seems like you're explaining them to be contingent beings, because if they don't necessarily exist in all possible worlds, then I would think they're a necessary being. And like if Danny just denies metaphysical modality, and like I get it, I suppose a few people do reject metaphysical modality, then him having a concept that will him say like, oh, Hades could feel to exist while Zeus exists still, and it's meaningful in a way from like saying the son could not fail to exist independently of the father. Wouldn't like that undermine his own analogy between like these pagan gods and the Trinity? If he says like there's nothing to stipulate that these beings necessarily exist in this way in all possible worlds, but we would say that the Father, Son, Holy Spirit necessarily exist in this way. God is a necessary being; he doesn't change. He necessarily exists in this way, but it seems to be the case that Hades, Poseidon, and Zeus don't necessarily exist in this way if he like rejects metaphysical modality.
Yeah, this guy's just yapping, bro. Come on, so God is one. Yes, God is one existence. Yes, bro. So, do you want to formally debate impartialism? Yes or no, bro? We can do it there on Dorsey's live. Wait, Kiana, should I restrict it to like maybe 40-minute discussion? Because maybe, yeah, I think, yeah, let's restrict it to a 40-minute discussion, open down. But, yeah, I think 40 minutes is sufficient.
But you guys could even do like, I didn't even know why you guys just don't do like, not cross exams particularly, because cross exams doesn't allow the other person to ask questions, but you could do like 15 minutes of like one side probing the other, and the other side is allowed to like obviously give arguments as well, and then like flip it over. Because like I noticed like even though Danny didn't mind during y'all conversation, like majority of the conversation was like you asking him questions rather than like Danny asking questions or providing arguments.
Yeah. This existence as a son created. This guy's yeah, you don't know how to actually like that's a malformed sentence, you know what I mean?
What percentage of your God is your father? Like we don't imply percentages. There's no percentages in God.
Yeah,
That doesn't even make sense.
This guy's confused, bro. Well, yeah, carry on playing the video.
Okay. Yo, the video is okay, 17 more minutes of debate. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, I'm not doing the question parts because people just were asking dumb questions. I can't lie.
If it's 17 minutes left, I don't think it might be 17 minutes left. It might be.
No,
Wait, does it show the timer?
the timer says 17 minutes left.
Oh, okay, okay. Because you're paying in, wow, how many times is it 1.5?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's gonna be like, it's gonna end quickly when there.
It's gonna what? What's that word you just used?
I said it's gonna end quickly.
Oh, you said it's gonna end equivalent. I was like, what the hell is end equivalent?
So now you're mocking me. That's crazy.
No,
So
what?
the first I got no good rhetoric, and that's
Bro, I had to provide some critique. I didn't want this to be like biased.
no, I'm joking.
I had to say something.
She treating you like a pinata today, G1. I ain't gonna even lie to you.
I'm telling you, bro.
She beating you like a pinata. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, everybody gonna say like, oh, I don't do fair reviews and I'm not critiquing because it's my friend and stuff like that. You feel me? I have to do something. I have to like critique something. I had to say the rhetoric was bad. I have to say that, but I'm not gonna lie. You don't really need rhetoric. You feel me? Like you don't need rhetoric. When you're smart, you don't need rhetoric. You just give them that calm Christian rhetoric. Just like, okay, interesting.
Yeah, I searched up. When you put in 1.5 speed and it's 70 minutes, it's gonna be 11 minutes left.
Okay. 11 minutes. Perfect. Beautiful. Yo, hold on. Let me ask, before I play it, let me ask Auntie to give me the recording real quick. Cause yo, I gotta see that. I gotta see that filioque debate, bruh. It might strengthen my faith in the filioque.
3 different points is crazy. When people just exist to be trying to fight for
How to do that teacher rhetoric. Oh, yo.
Shalom.
Shalom. Dude, just being the host. The host.
Okay, playing now.
If I can, I mean, I are answering this question. I think it's conceptually or logically possible.
I'll ask you in the metaphysical sense. Look,
I don't know what you mean by metaphysical modality. That's the point of my question.
So given that we're saying that Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades are going to be divine and they're going to be God, right? Does that mean that they have the same being or existence?
I'm postulating that some, again, if you don't remember, please don't interrupt. This is the whole problem, right? Is that if you remember 10 minutes ago, I said, what if a pagan said that Zeus, Hades, and Poseidon share the same existence, yet there are 3 gods? You say there's some kind of problem with that, right? And I asked to produce a contradiction, and then what you said the problem is that, well, if they share the same existence, you're saying essentially that it necessarily is the case that if Zeus exists, then the other 2 exist, right? And I don't understand the modality, why you would think it's necessarily the case. Because if you're stipulating that, okay, so if we assume that in this scenario we're using my commitments were provided such that, there's going to be 3 gods, then if we're saying, if there's going to be 1 god, and you're saying that this is going to be represented by Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades, if that is the case, then it would mean that 1, they would have to have the same divine nature, and 2, they would have to have the same divine existence, meaning that it's going to be metaphysically impossible, right, for any of the 3 persons to exist without another. If it is the case, then it means that they don't have the same divine existence. Okay, what makes it metaphysically impossible? Pause it. You see how I said that if Zeus, Poseidon, have all of these commitments, then it wouldn't be possible for them to be multiple gods. You see how I said that, see? And this dumbass is going to say I negated that. But carry on. It's metaphysically, so the proposition is going to be that it is metaphysically impossible for any X to have the same divine existence and for some Y to exist without another X in relation to having the same divine existence. What you said was, you just merely asserted that if they have the same divine nature and the same divine existence, right, then it's metaphysically impossible if there's 3 gods, right? I want the argument for that. No, that's what I'm saying. Okay, so then is it metaphysically possible? You're saying, Danny, wait. Danny, hold on, all right, I'll defer. In good faith, I'll defer. I'm trying to tell you, right?
Danny's talking about he'll defer when he's the one interrupting.
What's it called? Poseidon, Hades, and Zeus could be 1 god, right? And in this case, you said that they have the same divine being in nature. Then my question to you earlier was, right, that if it is possible, in a metaphysical sense, for any of the 3 persons to exist without one another, then it isn't going to be the case, but they have the same divine existence and nature. That's my point that I made to you earlier, you know that, right? I don't see how this addresses my problem. Here's my problem. Let me try to be... Because I'm saying it's metaphysically impossible to have 3 gods.
right? In relation to your stipulation.
So you interrupted me, but it's the second time, and I defer to you the other time. Go ahead. So you're saying that, and you can. This is a question for you, just a clarification question. Are you saying that if some, let's say Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades, if they had the same divine nature, right, and if they had the same divine existence, it'd be metaphysically impossible that there would be three gods? Is that what you're saying?
No, that's not what I'm saying. No.
Okay, so then what you're saying.
My point is, earlier, right? If the term God here is indicating the plurality of being, then and the plurality of being is going to be the divine existence itself, which is going to be enumerated. Then it can be the case where the three persons can have the same divine existence while also having a multiplied existence, such that they don't have the same kind of existence. It just doesn't make sense in that regard.
Okay, so now I see a big problem on your view. You just told me that if Zeus, Hades, and Poseidon shared the same divine nature and shared the same divine existence, it would in fact be metaphysically possible that there are three gods.
No,
so
that's not what I'm saying. No.
Okay, well then
When I said metaphysically impossible, not possible, but that's a blunder again. But carry on.
Well, go on.
Right, you wanted this format. I did not. Right.
Bro,
so then, okay. Again, I'll appeal to the audience because I've already made this point twice. I think.
Appeal to the audience fallacy. I'm saying.
Right. This is what just happened. I'll be quick.
You're talking to me in the audience. You're wasting time. You're talking to me in the audience.
Why am I?
Because you're wasting time.
Right. I appeal to the moderator.
Let's be quiet, please. Danny, restipulate what you think you want to sing, and then G1 if he's not saying what you presented in person.
Okay, so I think this is what G1 just said, right? He said that Hades, Poseidon, and Zeus, if they share the same divine nature and the same divine existence, and I asked him if it's metaphysically possible that there are three, or metaphysically impossible that there are three gods. He said, no, that's not what I'm saying. Which is to imply that if Zeus, Hades, and Poseidon share the same divine nature and share the same divine existence, it's metaphysically possible that there are three gods. So then if you apply this to the Trinity, then you have Holy Spirit, Father, Son, they share the same divine nature, the same divine existence. On his view, he's committed, saying, by that information alone, that it's metaphysically possible that there are three gods.
Yeah, okay. So, Danny, remember you're saying this is what I'm saying now. But just because it's not what I'm saying now doesn't mean that I agree to the idea that if it's the case of Poseidon, Zeus, and Hades share the same divine existence and nature, then it is, of course, going to be metaphysically impossible for there to be three gods. I stipulated these conditions before. Danny, I stipulated earlier, for any X which possesses the same divine nature, it possesses the same divine existence, meaning that it's going to be impossible for there to be multiple gods. I stated that earlier. Currently, right now, when I was asking you the question regarding to, okay, cool, if we say that there's going to be one God, right, i.e. Poseidon, Zeus, and Hades, but we see three gods, right, is that going to be possible? Then I said no, right, because it even implies that they don't have the same divine existence, or, right, they do.
Can you pause the timer? I have a little bit of an emergency. Give me a second. I need like 2 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know about that emergency. Seems fishy. No, I'm just playing.
No, but you got credit because he kept saying, yeah, just because I'm not saying that now, that doesn't mean I negate the proposition or affirm the proposition. The point is what I'm explaining to you about a point that I'm making now. Even though that's a point that I made to you earlier, I'm trying to like legit stick to the point that I'm making now. What the heck? But then he's trying to infer.
That's not a flex. Kayla, don't piss me off.
He's not even, well, yeah, honestly speaking, yeah, Danny was just not checking, bro.
Just come back to Christ and don't piss me off. Even being a Unitarian, well, I can't even say being a Unitarian is better than being an atheist because, listen, I feel like atheists are going to get more mercy, but only if you started out as an atheist.
You would.
You feel me? Like, I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like people that had a chance and like, rejected the chance, they gonna be like, you gonna be like the ones Christ really be like, I never knew you, and then he gonna have some extra words for you. But I feel like people that just, are agnostic or like never believed in a God and stuff like that, and never got to dive deep in all of this, happily going to hell, don't do that. But
the funniest thing is, where the guy whom I know I won the debate, but the guy whom I debated doesn't even think that he won the debate. He won the debate.
He asked me what the verdict was.
He said he doesn't care if you look, bro. If Danny genuinely thought he won the debate, he would say it. As simple as that. I've seen Danny say, yeah, I've won the debate. Why destroy this guy? Demolish this guy, blah, 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 all of this type of stuff, bro. He didn't he didn't win the debate, but of course he can't make that clear because that's how Danny is, bro. But you guys are saying, oh yeah, Danny won, bro. The guy doesn't think he won the debate. He's gonna be like, I think you won. He's gonna be like this. If you ask him, did you win the debate against G1? He's gonna be like, well, I feel like I gave some arguments. G1 didn't win, like respond to those arguments. I just, in virtue of that, I would say like he lost. That's how he won't be. He's not gonna say yes or no, bro. He's not gonna say yes or no, bro. I'm telling you.
I don't know why people want that. I'm not gonna lie. Danny never like met his burden. If there was a burden to prove that the LPT stands against the Trinity, then that argument was never given. So he can't have won. He can't have won simply by the fact that he never gave an argument against LPT.
You didn't. You didn't give it on. You didn't give an argument.
Shark said he won. He's a Trinitarian. He's probably listen.
Oh,
There's gonna
yeah.
be
Shark is slow. Shark is
there's
slow.
gonna be
No.
like there's gonna be four kinds of people. Okay, there's gonna be honest people that don't care, even if they're Trinitarians. There's gonna be honest people that track right and knows like who's giving the arguments, who's giving the correct reputations, X, Y, and Z. There's going to be cheerleaders. Okay, that's category 2. That people, regardless, whoever they support, they're gonna say like they won, right? If Danny lost the debate, they're still gonna say Danny won. If G1 lost the debate, they're still gonna say G1 won, right? So we have honest people, we have cheerleaders, and the third category is haters, right? It's people that have a particular bias against an individual, whether they're Trinitarian or not, right? They're going to say they lost regardless. They're going to say the other person won just because they dislike the person that they're debating, right? And then there's the fourth category, which is like Kiana. I'm the fourth category, right? And that's just all. Are you saying that's
Are you saying that is? Huh?
I don't know what that means. Yeah, Kiana is the fourth category, which y'all can't be in because y'all not rocking like me. But yeah, you're either going to be honest, biased. It depends. It depends on if Shark tracked the argument. I will have to ask him some questions in order to know whether or not he's a hater or
Right,
he's just a
Anthony, the one
cheerleader.
checking, bro.
And
Anthony,
haters
ask
and
these
cheerleaders
guys.
are kind of haters and cheerleaders are not interchangeable. Cheerleaders are they don't have any hate towards the other individual. They just glaze their people. You feel me? And haters just glaze whoever's against this particular individual that they have a bias against.
Dude, just ask any of these guys who believe that I lost. Ask them how did you want to lose?
Exactly. If you can like Funi, for instance.
Well,
Funi's a hater.
ask Funi. Funi will not
Funi's in
explain how.
category Funi will say G1 lost. Funi said everything that G1 said was a blunder. Mind you, verbatim. He said every statement G1 has made literally is a blunder. But Funi will never actually explain how an individual lost. Okay, Funi's just a hater, but he hates everybody. It's okay. You get me? Funi hates on everybody. That's a Southern Baptist for you. But
I know you said I lost, but if you ask Funi, how did I lose in the substance of the conversation? And what
he won't be
argument
able
did
to
Danny give? He wouldn't be able to cogitate it. As simple as that. He wouldn't be. Ask him now. He's in the comments. I invited him. We can sit on the.
If Funi has to explain his comments, he's not going to come out.
Yeah,
But
just
Funi's
look.
gonna
It's
be
as simple as that. We can ask him. Okay, cool. In this conversation, how did you want lose in the substance? What argument did Danny give? What do? By which
You know
do you
who's
want
a
to see the clear?
wait? Do you know who's a perfect example of an individual who just attracts haters? Period. Is Dom.
Oh,
Is Dom.
yeah.
People either glaze him even when he's blundering just because like they like Dom and they're cool with Dom. So like Dom could be saying the dumbest ish possible, like if your God isn't 3 persons, then he can't metaphysically exist. You feel me? Like he'll say that and people will eat it up. But also people also just hate on Dom even if he's making like a decent point. They'll hate on Dom just because they don't like him. And it's warranted. I can't defend the nigga because he's trash. You feel me? It's warranted, but that's a good example of a person who either attracts cheerleaders or haters. He doesn't attract honest people because honest people don't want nothing to do with Dom.
Don't tell him. Wait, yeah, Karen picking up? There's probably like 9 minutes left, 8 minutes left. Karen, where did you go?
Quick intermission.
We're shunting out on your position so we get
2 minutes.
I don't think you even have the capacity to, but you can come up. You can come up, bro.
Hey, yeah, I got a question. My bad for the echo if y'all hear one. My bad.
What up, G1?
Yeah, what's good? Yeah, so how did I lose the debate? Go on. I'm listening.
Okay. So a lot of the quote unquote debate, right, was like him trying to like nail down what it is you're describing by when you say like the entirety of your God and how like it functions. Because once you know that, then you can critique the position. But there's like oceans of language that somebody has to get through before like you can say, okay, God has a son. That's a like even just that statement right there. It's like, is the existence that is its son, or is it the same? Did God just have you know? So to get to these, you have to
Is he lagging or is it me? I'm confused.
kind of have these conversations beforehand, and that's kind
Are
of
you
what
are
y'all
you
were
are
doing
you
here. So to say, oh, when or
is he
loss is
lagging or
kind
is it me?
of difficult, but
You're lagging by the
the
way.
way that it's
You're
going,
lagging by the
you've
way.
kind of fallen into like the way that you describe something kind of at the very least sounds like it'll be like partialism, something like three doc.
Yeah, this guy. See, even his Wi-Fi doesn't want to allow him to talk, bro. His Wi-Fi had enough of this gibberish. I think his
I
Wi-Fi
got a
should.
question though, man. Hey, my bad for the echo if y'all hear it, but I got a question though. What's a good book? Like I said, I don't want to dive into it too much, but I'm trying to get a little bit into the metaphysics, just a tad bit. Like, what's a good book to start off with?
Edward Faze's Scholastic Metaphysics. Edward
Could you
Faze.
type it in? I'm kind of driving right now. My bad. Could you type it in, bro?
Yeah, I'll put it up with Scholastic.
The best they got is Thomas Aquinas, but if you hold to Thomas Aquinas's position, you can't hold to divine simplicity because any distinction within your God is adds complexity.
Do you want to
So
formally debate that?
yeah,
So, yeah, to what I
No, we need to stay
requested.
on about.
You want to formally debate that, bro?
what?
Do you want to debate Aquinas' position, which is
No,
the
I mean you
composition?
gotta answer my question first before I debate it.
Okay, so you don't want to debate though. Okay. But anyways, but earlier you said that earlier, earlier, earlier you was lagging, right? Your internet wasn't working properly.
We can debate.
But what
We could
argument did
debate
Danny get
whatever you
to?
want. We could debate
That
whatever
this
you
guy's lagging.
want as soon as you answer my
Hey, well, you know
question.
you've been supposed. This guy been supposed to formally debate me and never set ish up. He wanted to debate on whether the Catholic Church is um the little horn. You remember?
Like I said,
Yeah,
quote
I don't want to
unquote
debate that topic.
debate. We're not really
Bro, you need to leave and come back, bro. Your Wi-Fi is just pissing me off.
what? Whenever okay, the little horn.
Yeah, you gotta leave and come back, bro. But earlier, what you said is just stupid. What you said is just stupid. He said that, oh yeah, for this discussion we have to inquire into what the individual. No, you don't have to do it to the extent. But Danny did it. The LPT doesn't require that. You know that, right? The LPT only requires these statements: the Father is God, the Son is God, the Holy Spirit is God. The Father is not the Son, the Holy Spirit is not the Son is not the Father. And therefore, there's one God. That's the only statements which is required in order for some supposed logical problem of the Trinity to transpire. You don't need to get into what Danny was getting into. He didn't give the LPT. He knows what the LPT is. Didn't give it. He didn't give the indexical argument. He didn't give any kind of argument against the Athanasian and Nicene Creed of the Trinity. He knows what it is. He's saying there's a counting problem when we look at his commitments. He doesn't have to dive into every single point of what we believe in order for him to say there's a problem. He identifies the problem, which kind of assumes that he knows what the position is to some certain extent. So he can just give the whole
Right.
50 minutes didn't give an argument.
You got dropped because of your internet. And also, there's 10 minutes left of this conversation. Then I'm going to go live for like 30 more minutes. Then I have to go cook some bread, some homemade bread. You feel
Ooh,
me?
you cooking
And
bread.
some lunch.
Mm,
Yes.
okay. But yeah, play it. Madam.
Here go, brother Bishop, bruh.
But I swear them Brother Bishop and Cave are like the same. Like,
Wait, Kojo, I thought you wanted to be here for the debate. Shake, pass that recipe. Yo, I'm gonna post it. I'm gonna post the
Hey guys, how
recipe.
y'all doing?
I'm
what's
thinking
good,
it's gonna
what's
be
good?
some coffee bread, not sourdough.
Hey, is this debate online on YouTube?
It's
going
not.
to
I'm gonna get a post on. I'm gonna send it to someone. But yeah, play
Okay.
Hey, please upload when y'all get your chance. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yo, I gotta start uploading these reviews. But you know, the only reason why I don't upload the reviews is because like they're kind of just like they're not professional reviews. So when I start, I'm gonna start what? Well, I just need to clip it maybe.
Yeah,
But
you can edit it out. But that's gonna take a long time.
yeah,
You
it's
can
gonna
edit
take
out.
too long. I just gotta start doing better, you feel me? But I'm gonna start reviewing more than these just lame TikTok debates. I swear everybody's low tier on this app. I'm tired of reviewing stuff.
I'm not included in that set.
Of course not. Of course not. No.
Yeah. But yeah, play the video.
Telling you, look, if I have to review one more like Unitarian versus Trinitarian lame debate, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Like these debates be low tier. The arguments be ChatGPT as hell. Like enough is enough. I'm gonna go on YouTube and find something worth reviewing, because y'all not worth reviewing for real.
Well, you should start viewing. You should actually view the debate between William Warbrick, Christopher versus Danny and this other guy. That's more professional.
Bruh,
Danny
you
can
know, it's
score.
not even, I'm sorry, it's not even TikTok. It's just the sphere of TikTok I'm in. I gotta go branch out. You feel me? I gotta go to some atheist panels. I have to clip something and then I have to review it. Or yeah, Logic's debates. I like reviewing God Logic's debates because at least he doesn't like try to LARP and like pretend to talk about a subject he doesn't know about. So it's worth reviewing. You know, he sits there face forward, no phone. Like he doesn't have to sit there and read ChatGPT like the rest of y'all. So
Hey, Sheik, I just wanted to say something. Have you ever debated like an Israelite? Because I know like that'll probably increase you know what I'm saying, your understanding, because they believe that only Israel can be saved. So I think, you know, if you were to debate them and then get them to understand that everyone can be saved, I think that's a challenge. And I've been doing that
we
for
don't
a
want
long time.
that is the Hebrew Israelites don't want this smoke. The moment I tell them the reality of their ancestry, they just like get mad and upset and they're like, no, we're not the African Americans that came on the slave ship. We existed before that. We're actually the Hebrews that were Bro, I can't deal with that kind of delusion. I'm not gonna lie. Like
But wait a second, she. I believe, you know what I'm saying, because I'm a African American, so I believe that, you know what I'm saying, far as the prophecies in the book, that we are the children of the book. And you know, I know Israel been scattered, so I don't just teach like Israel is just straight African American. I believe Israel is scattered, and yeah, I stand on that.
listen. There's a difference between like saying that you identify with this spiritual Israel or saying that we're all descendants of Noah in some relevant sense, right? There's a distinction between that and saying that you are who Exodus and Deuteronomy is talking about when it's talking about the curses to the nation of Israel, when it's talking about what occurs to them, because guess what? These things actually happen in real time in history, and it didn't happen to the Africans. It didn't happen to people on the continent of Africa. even though they experienced slavery, even though they experienced subjugation, so did the Asians, so did the Europeans, so did everybody on God's green earth, right? But the particular curses, these were curses due to these individuals doing things that would remove them from the covenant, right? God gives them stipulations if you read the book of Deuteronomy. Okay, so God gives them stipulations and he says, if this occurs, this is what's going to follow. If this occurs, this is, and it actually followed, right? And just the idea that, okay, the 12 tribes of Israel have been scattered and Africa is one of the 12 is ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous and historically false. So like, if you want to speak about like a spiritual Israel that we are a part of, absolutely, we're all spiritual Israel. If you want to like claim that you're one of the scattered tribes, get a DNA test. I promise you, if you're African American, 9 times out of 10, you came from Ghana. The shores of Ghana is one of the most prevalent places where Africans came into the United States of America. The Africans weren't here in the United States of America prior to the natives. You weren't the natives. They're a separate people, right? It's okay to identify with your particular nation. We don't have to do like this identity crisis. You don't have to have an identity crisis. You feel me? So if it's like the spiritual part you align with, okay. If it's that we're all from the line of Noah and we all come from Noah and then civilizations naturally dispersed after that, okay. But if it's that, oh, we're one of the lost 12 tribes and this African continent is one of the lost 12 tribes and this, you have no historical basis for this, nor do you have any DNA basis for this. No ethnicity basis, no basis of ethnicity. So like that's the part of the whole HBI argument that I can't agree with or can't get down with, and you really just like can't talk to them because they're so deluded. So like if that's not what you're stipulating, then I can agree with you, right? That's defensible.
Okay, so what if somebody was just like, you know what? I just want to be Bible based. Like there are, historical, data that's out there, but if they could show you in the scriptures, at the end of the day, I'm sorry, I'm reading the comments. If they could show you in the scriptures, because there's certain prophecies, like when you read Ezekiel, that if you were to say that the people over there right now in the land, if they're the true people, they don't meet. So it's like certain prophecies that have to take place. But I'm gonna respect your platform. I don't want to go back and forth. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
play the video because it's about to finish anyway.
Excuse me. Yeah.
I don't agree, right, to that proposition. There's a distinction between what I'm saying. No, because I'm talking about what I'm saying. There's a distinction between what I'm saying and what I agree to be the case or not. Just because I'm saying that isn't what I'm saying doesn't mean I negate the proposition. Therefore, you can't infer that it's going to be metaphysically possible for there to be 3 gods and try to like build some switch relation within a Trinitarian position. You know that, right? If I say, Danny, right, what's it called? Halal Christian is a Unitarian, and then you ask me, are you saying this? And I say no, that doesn't mean I'm negating the proposition. I'm just saying I'm not saying that.
Okay, but my question is whether if that's what you believe or that's what you committed to.
There's a difference between a belief and you saying
That's
something.
when I'm asking you,
So did you
is
blunder,
it your
Danny?
position?
So did
Is
you
it your
blunder?
position? Go ahead.
So did you blunder? Did you make a mistake between
No,
saying and
wait.
belief?
No, why would we need that distinction?
Because just
right?
because I
If
say something, that doesn't
if
mean I
I-
believe it. So if I say I'm an atheist, doesn't mean I'm committed to believe I'm an atheist.
No, but if the question is about
Okay,
your
so
commitments,
okay, beautiful. So that means the inference which you made earlier, by what's it called, it being metaphysically possible for there to be 3 gods, is just going to be no. If it is the case, I gave conditions and parameters which negates the idea of there being multiple gods, such that the divine existence is going to be identical to divine nature. So please, can you just argument here?
No, I'm still saying there's a problem. Remember, so now I didn't interrupt you here. I'm asking you this question. Hey, if Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades share the same divine nature and same divine existence, is it metaphysically possible for there to be 3 gods? Right? That's the question I asked you. And you said, I wouldn't say that. But what I'm asking you is what you believe, obviously, because what I'm trying to say is that if that's what you think, then the follow-up question is that what makes it metaphysically impossible? Right? That's the follow-up question.
Danny, I didn't say I wouldn't say that. I'm saying that when I was explaining to you regarding to a particular point, but that isn't what I'm saying. Of course, earlier, if he was actually tracking, I did say that if it is the case that Poseidon, Hades, and Zeus have the same divine existence and have the same divine nature, then it isn't going to be the case that it could be multiple gods. I said that to you earlier. You just wasn't
Okay, so then I asked my follow-up question, to which you didn't really answer coherently. What makes it metaphysically impossible that Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades have the same divine nature and the same divine existence, yet it's metaphysically impossible that they're 3 gods? That's what I'm...
Bruh, what the hell is Danny saying? If you just say the reason for them not being divided is that they have the one divine nature, which is going to be undivisible, which was stipulated, and they share the same divine existence, then it's not going to be the case that there are 3 gods. Then he's talking about what makes it metaphysically possible. Bro, what?
I gave the conditions earlier, and that's what I'm saying. He's just not checking.
Danny is lost in the sauce.
And what does God mean, please?
That there are three reference, right, that have the omni properties or properties that give a kind of strong sense of control over nature and the fortunes of humanity.
So the three, so do they have their own? So okay, is the omni property numerically the same?
Well, just answer my question.
As a clarity question, is the omni
How does it
property
clarify
numerically the
anything?
same? Because the point is that is it the case where it's going to be metaphysically impossible for the former and the latter to coexist such that it could be three gods, even though Poseidon, Hades, and Zeus have the same divine nature and the same divine existence? I want to understand what you mean by three gods here. You're not really actually.
You already answered the question that is metaphysically impossible. So it's however you interpret it.
Saying, okay, that means, okay, beautiful. So if I told you earlier that it isn't going
Wait, he's saying, he's going back now saying, well, you already answered the question, so it's however you stipulate it is going to be the response. Then if it's been stipulated as such, then that's going to be the case. What's your question? What do you mean? What do you mean? Why is it going to be metaphysically possible? Then when you're asked when you're given why it's going to be the case, then you say it's whatever you stipulate. Okay, then you have no more inquiries, I suppose.
Exactly, bro. Possessed. That's what I said to him. I was like, this guy's not checking.
Yo, Danny, I can tell Danny was confused with what he was saying as well, his own words.
physically possible for there to be three gods, then it just means you're equivocating here on what God means.
What are you saying? What term am I equivocating on?
Because if I just said it isn't going to be such fact, because remember the term God is going to be a substantive now, right? Meaning
this part is good. Wait, let me slow this part down. This part was funny. Let me slow this part down.
Then we can't add the letter S after the letter D, right? Which would indicate a plurality of beings or entities. You know that, right?
No, I don't understand. So I couldn't even repeat that if I tried. The point is that you're saying what fact, if you could be very clear, makes it metaphysically impossible that all three of these statements could be true. And do I need to repeat the statements?
I already told you. That
what is it?
The term
Let me write it down. Let me write it down.
Now, wait, because you're not checking? Yeah, you might have to actually write that down.
Yeah, I don't understand you.
So, yeah, because you're not checking. So I want to speak slowly for you, Danny. So I'm saying the term God is going to be a substantive noun, right?
But what's a substantive noun?
A substantive noun. Yeah, a substantive noun is going to be a thing which has a quiddity or a somethingness.
Okay, what's a noun?
Okay, so you don't know what grammar is.
No, you're making...
Yo, there's no way Danny asked what's a noun, bro. Let me back that up one more time. Kayla, you
That's killing.
Kayla, that's your guy. That's my friend too, but that's your guy.
He's my goat. Yes. I shall not deny Danny. He's my goat.
What's a noun, Kayla?
Because you know what? G1 can ask the same question. That's what y'all do. Y'all ask for definitions of everything, even when you know what it is.
Danny's the one that's asking the definition.
He's the one that he's asking for definition.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Danny's doing it too. G1 does it too.
Okay, and I answer.
All of you do it.
And I answer. No, but the point is, I don't do it pedantically. The point is, when we're having discussions about philosophy, I define that. I don't ask you what is a noun. I don't ask that. We know what a noun is.
Do you want to ask what's God indicating here? Because obviously when people speak about God, right, it can be in reference to distinct things or distinct concepts. So that's not as like pedantic as asking what is a noun. How many definitions of a noun are there?
Like, let's be honest. I'm sure G1 has asked more ridiculous. They do it. G1 and Danny do it. They ask for definitions of everything. Yo, G1, stop.
I don't ask ridiculous questions. Look, you haven't given one instance. You're just trying to like give some like probabilistic reason case based upon your experience. We haven't given one instance.
Remember, like G1, I talk to you all the time. I listen to you talk. I like it when you talk. You do it though.
You don't have justification then. You haven't given one instance.
Fine. I may not remember now, but I'll remind you when you do it again. I promise you, before this conversation's over, you're gonna do it.
Can we all agree that asking what's a noun is like egregiously pedantic?
I agree, but I'm saying I'm not taking it. It's not like it's not an issue because G1 does. All of you do it. Every single person in the base, y'all do it.
That's legit. Too cool.
Okay, fine, no problem. I'll grant it to you. Yes, it is pedantic, but I'm telling you, G1 does it. You do it. All of you do it.
Confession.
Stop you, confession.
Alright, I'm gonna finish it. We got 5 minutes left, you guys.
You're making the distinction between a substantive noun and a noun.
If you know what noun, a substantive noun and a noun
that just sounds
to a thing.
Redundant.
So what do you mean? A substantive noun is going to be redundant? But a substantive noun is going to signify a thing which...
Wait.
Pause it. Type up substantive. Legit. It's It's within grammar.
This
He's
guy
saying
says
it's redundant.
substantive noun is going to be pedantic. Oh wow.
The substance. You know that, right?
But
And now
substance just
it's going
means
to be
entity,
something that's to be
right?
signified even though it doesn't have a substance. You know that, right?
Okay, but substance just means
Because a
entity or
substance is
object.
going to be because a substance is going to be that which exists for itself, right? Meaning that it can't
That
be
which
allocated
exists for
to.
itself.
That means it can't be allocated to, like, for example. You didn't know that?
I
Do you want me
mean,
to teach
that's
you grammar
one
as well?
definition.
Do you want me to teach?
Wait, if he knows that that's one's definition, why would he ask? Why would he repeat the question? Repeat the statement as a question, like a substance is that which exists to itself. G1 says you didn't know that. Then he says, well, that's one definition. Well, then if the definition that G1 gave satisfies the term, why are you asking?
Grammar as well, because what is this?
Does Jesus exist on his?
And now you're asking me a different question to what you wanted clarification.
Well,
on.
I'm showing a problem with the definition because then Jesus.
The definition of what?
The definition of substance.
Okay, so what's the definition of substance which you provided, which is contrary to the Trinity? Go on.
Yeah, Jesus, right, is dependent, right? But you're understanding a substance to be something that doesn't depend on anything else.
Jesus is okay. So what notion?
Bro, you can use this in regards to trees, rocks, people. Yes, we're all dependent in some way, right? But then that doesn't mean that exists through itself, right? Means like it supplies its own existence.
Exactly, bro.
What the hell?
There's the chick
What
with
the
her
hell?
grammar. I was like, there's no way I have to teach this guy grammar, bro. There's no way.
Dependency relation, like using causal.
It doesn't matter, right?
Yes, it does because yes, it does. Yes, it really does because like, when we
Can
talk about
Jesus
God,
exist without the
because when we're
Father?
talking about wait, hold up, because it does because the notion of substance, right, is signifying that which exists for itself, and it doesn't depend upon like some other subject to exist in, right, and has its own individual existence.
Is the
right,
Father
whereas
a
when we speak
subject?
about God, wait, I'm teaching you, stay quiet. So when I say God is going to be independent, it just signifies that God's existence isn't going to be dependent upon efficient cause. So when you say that Christ is going to be dependent, are you speaking about this kind of sense of dependency?
Is Jesus a substance?
So Danny, can you please answer the clarity question?
Dodge, and more dodge.
Are you speaking about this kind of dependency relation by just stipulated?
The sense of dependency, just something like if it depends on X, then without X it doesn't exist. That's
Okay, so you're talking about the dependency relation in the causal sense, right?
Well, it's tricky, right? The point is, if you're using the word cause very broadly, sure.
Sure. Okay, then that isn't going.
Wait, it's funny because Danny's the one using the term cause very broadly.
Exactly.
Piece of Christ. So why do I have to be motivated for Christ to be dependent?
Wait,
okay, so
you're only like motivated to think Christ is dependent if you're dumb and think that Christ is not aletheos, okay?
So wait, did the Father?
Sorry, lame job. Here go halal. I ain't gonna lie, halal pissed me off here. Cause why it's 3 minutes during the debate. Why are you talking about I'm being unfair? Are you okay?
On your view, wait, one last question. Wait, what were you saying, Halal?
I just wanted to tell Maud something. So, moderator, something that I noticed, I just kind of wanted to point out to you is that under the guide.
Mind you, Danny been dodging questions. This girl have the nerve to talk about under the guise of a clarifying question. Danny hasn't answered no questions.
A quote clarifying question. G1 just like drives the conversation and then goes back into the driver's seat, and I feel like you should be a bit fair in moderating that.
I've already.
Because he said it was a clarifying
It's okay.
question.
It's okay.
One answer the question, and then when you answer the clarifying question.
Just to clear it up, I've already told Danny if he feels like he's being asked too many questions at 25 minutes, right, we can turn it around and Danny can try the arguments. And Danny said he doesn't want to. He said it's fine.
Yeah, it's okay. Okay, so again, if you're saying a substantive noun, a noun that doesn't depend on anything else, let me
clarify real quick. Let me clarify something. Even though G1 was asking, let's say that he was the initial inquisitor, right? G1 was asking Danny more questions. Every answer to the question that G1 asked was actually a question as well. So I don't know what that means for G1 to be going back into the driver's seat, because if G1 makes a statement like, oh, God is going to be a substantive noun, Danny asks, oh, what is this going to mean? G1 answers, Danny asks another question, well, what does this mean? Or what is a noun? Danny asked just as many questions as G1. He just wasn't the initial inquisitor. He just reversed it back. So I don't know.
Exactly.
But I think G1 was dominating the conversation, to be fair. And that's why it seemed like he was asking more questions.
Yeah, but Danny likes that kind of conversation. Danny likes to...
Yeah, he likes yo, Keanu pause. I think is the words. The point is, he was supposed to be the aggressor. I was supposed to be the defender. In the first 5 minutes, he didn't want to aggress. If I was to say in the beginning, give me an argument, I sit back, the conversation would have ended in 10 minutes. I didn't want the conversation to end in 10 minutes. So I built it up. I was the one asking questions. I was the one trying to build up the conversation so the debate could be at least worthwhile to actually watch. He didn't want to do that. He had times to give me an argument. I asked him to give me an argument. He's asking me questions.
I
Like,
legit
what am I
stopped
supposed
it
to
at
do?
25 minutes and asked Danny if he wants to reverse, right? And he could be the one asking the questions. Then we'll do that at 25 minutes, which would be half the debate since the conversation was 50 minutes long. And Danny
Exactly.
said, no, he's fine with the way it is. So clearly he enjoys this kinds of argumentation.
Exactly. So I don't know why people are getting
So
onto
he
the point.
likes being dominated? Is that what you're saying?
Yo,
Yeah,
Kayla,
yo,
you're doing too much
you
now.
see this, you see this. But no,
See?
the point is, he had a look. I wanted him to give me arguments. I asked him to give me arguments. He didn't want to give me arguments. He wanted to ask me questions like I was cursing her. It's as simple as that.
You could have asked Danny if he wanted to speak to sign. Like, that's it. How is that my fault? That was Danny. I literally said, if you feel like, because Halal already made that initial point before, right? That's her second time speaking up. But if Danny and even Gumbo was like, oh, when does Danny get to ask questions? I said at 25 minutes, right? Because G1 started the conversation. So I said, okay, it's only fair that at 25 minutes, we got to reverse it. So I told Danny, at 25 minutes, you can ask G1 the questions, right? If you feel like you're being asked too many questions or essentially like being bombarded or whatever, then we're going to reverse it at 25 minutes. Danny said, no, this is fine. This is fine. So what do you mean? Like he this is what he wanted. He wanted this.
And bear in mind, you see how we switched from semantics to actually metaphysics? If you wanted Danny to ask me questions, we would have stayed on semantics. You know that, right?
Literally, he would have kept saying, well, when people normally, yes, because
Exactly.
people normally speak about metaphysics, Danny. People normally speak about substantive nouns and metaphysical possibility and you know, conventional and semantic entailment. People normally speak about these things. Why would we care how people normally speak?
Exactly. Like Danny loves semantic. Like for example, remember when Koja and Danny debated? Bro,
What do
Danny
you
was debating
want?
semantics for the whole for I think an hour and 30 minutes. Semantics, bro. Danny will debate on semantics for an hour or even 2 hours, bro. So if you wanted Danny to ask me questions, which I don't mind, it would have stuck on a semantical dispute. That's legit what happened.
Literally. Okay, there's 2 minutes
Yeah,
left.
yeah, host, can you remove this individual's mod so I can mute them?
Who?
Kayla K.
Oh.
Wait.
Okay. But that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. But please, can you clarify? Okay, so when you said Christ is going to be dependent, right? And you're saying dependency is going to be causal, right? So there's going to be some causal relation between, like, some efficient cause and Christ being an.
I didn't say efficient.
Oh. Is it an error occurred?
Error is crazy. Your Wi-Fi just like
It's not my Wi-Fi, it's the file, genius.
Nah, it's not the Wi-Fi. It's not the file. The file is beautiful.
Yes, it is.
Impossible.
It's the file.
I give Brosis the file. He watched the whole thing.
I didn't care. It's the file. Wait,
Nah,
let me refresh. You're coping. Yo, let me see. Where were we?
Brian, sometimes I just want to hit your head.
Argument was
really
from an analogy, and it comes down to the beginning of my open.
The way you skipped. So when you say about Christ is going to be dependent, are you speaking about this kind of sense of dependency?
Is Jesus a substance?
So Danny, can you please answer the clarity question? Are you speaking about this kind of dependency relationship I just stipulated?
The sense of dependency, just something like if it depends on X, then without X it doesn't exist. That's
okay. So you're talking about the dependency relation in a causal sense, right?
Well, it's tricky, right? The point is, if you're using the word cause very broadly, sure,
Sure, okay, then that isn't going to be said of Christ. So why do I have to be motivated for Christ to be dependent?
Wait,
Okay, so
sorry,
so
one
wait,
second.
did
Tatiana,
the
do you mind
father,
pausing
on
the
your
time?
view?
Oh.
And I feel like you should.
I've already told Danny.
Yeah, it's not a big,
That's not what I'm
the
saying.
where
Causal, right? Such that there's going to be some causal relation between like some efficient cause and Christ being in effect.
I didn't say efficient cause. I said
You
cause in
didn't.
the broadest
I never
sense.
said. I never said. You said that. I'm stipulating the kind of parameters of what cause is going to be.
Now Danny said I said cause in the broader sense, but earlier he accused G1 of using cause in the broader sense. Yo, Danny.
Exactly, bro. It is, so we don't
But I already
actually
stipulated
speak.
that.
But you said the term cause is going to be broad, meaning that my notion is going to be encompassed in that broad notion, right?
Okay.
Okay, so you just saying, oh yeah, I gave a general notion, and my sense falls under the general notion isn't going to be contrary to what you're saying, right?
No, if you're
okay, beautiful.
It's going to be
so, like I
any
was saying,
cause.
can you answer my question?
If you think
so,
that
when you said that Christ is going to be dependent, right? Why, as me as a Trinitarian, I have to be committed to that when that's just going to be negated?
Committed to the dependency stuff?
Christ being dependent in the causal
right,
sense.
because you think that the Father causes the Son.
Not in a causal sense regarding to like efficient cause.
But I didn't
because
say
Christ,
efficient cause.
I never said you said that.
Then why are you bringing up efficient cause?
Because I'm given a specification of what kind of dependency is being rejected.
I said the broadest sense of cause, not a narrow sense.
Danny. Within the Trinity, when we say that God is independent, what kind of independency is being elicited here, Danny?
We'll just say, as you said, causal.
Or is it going to be efficient cause?
It's gonna. I don't understand actually.
Danny, is it going to be efficient cause? Yes or no?
I'm answering the question, right?
Okay,
so I don't know what it amounts to because I think it's incoherent, right? It might be efficient cause. You might say it's not, but
I'm telling you, within the Trinitarian commitments, when we say that God is, I say, and is independent, right? What does this independency pick out in this context?
Well, again, I think it's incoherent, but I think you might even be committed to saying that Jesus efficiently caused.
Danny, when we say, okay, let me teach you because it doesn't seem that you know. I don't know why you even debate this if you don't know, I believe. So the independency relation here is negating God to have an efficient cause of himself because he exists of himself and through himself, which would mean that this applies to the Son, the Holy Spirit, and the Father. So it
W. Autotheos mentioned in and of himself, WG1.
The dependency is going to be in this.
Huh?
Wait, in and of himself, by himself, are you talking of the being? Because the being is not a self, is it?
Oh my goodness.
Oh my God.
Caleb, just go back in there. But yeah, carry on, Blue.
Answer the question, I want to know.
In and of himself means that, right?
His existence is sufficient.
His essence is not supplied by another. He exists in and of himself according to his nature.
Exactly.
So you're going to say the three of them exist independently, right?
Huh?
The three of them
like
exist
the three of them,
independently.
the three persons are dependent on each other, correct?
No, not in the ontic sense. Not ontically. No, they don't. They're not comparing. They don't depend on each other ontically speaking, because that would imply that they have different divine existences. You know what I mean? There's a logical dependence, but not an ontological dependence. That's why if Danny was to say, is Jesus dependent? I asked him, what sense? If it's logical, that's accepted. If it's ontological, that's rejected. That's why I said the sense really matters, because he doesn't understand my position.
Exactly.
Would mean that Christ wouldn't be a say. Well, why should we believe that if that isn't going to be the
well, you presumably wait. So efficient causation that has to do with sourcehood, right?
In part of it, but it's also talking
so
about
if something has a
effect,
source,
and it's also talking about
if something has a source, it's efficiently caused.
Danny, I'm answering the question. Yeah, so efficient cause is going to be a principle by which an effect derives from, but the efficient cause has a relation to an effect. Christ isn't going to be an effect, right, which relates to anything, right, to be a cause, because there's no cause in relation to Christ in that regard.
So Christ is not an effect, is what you're saying?
That's
of course.
Okay. You say okay. So then, how is it that Jesus has a cause but he's not an effect? What does that even mean?
The time is up.
Yeah.
So do you want
Unless
to
you
ask
want
about
to.
how is it that Jesus has a cause, but he's not an effect? Kayla, you think Danny was cooking there? Chat, how is it that Jesus has
Of
a
a cause,
cause, but
though.
it's not an effect?
Wait. If Jesus is the result of a cause, wouldn't he be the effect?
No, because not all
He's not a
causes.
result.
Because not all causes, right, means that there's an effect, but it relates to. There's some, for example, when we have an argument, the premises are the cause of the conclusion being true, right? But we're not going to say the conclusion is an effect, right? Because the premises and the conclusion itself are not causally related in that respect. And I gave the
Yeah.
example.
Okay, but let me apply to the paradigm, right? Your paradigm. The Father generated the Son, right?
Yes.
Okay, so the effect of the generating.
No. There's no
Wait, hold
effect.
on. Is just a result of the Father generating a person?
No. Jesus is not a
It's not an
Jesus is
effect.
not a result.
He's not an
Is he?
effect. He's the thing by which proceeds from the Father by generation. That's what Christ is. He's the Son.
Okay, so if I perform an act, what the result of that action, right, would be the effect, right?
Not all the time. Not all the time.
Apply it to your paradigm and tell me how Jesus is not the result of
Because there's
the
two
action.
kinds. You're talking about transient. You're talking about effects which is produced outside of the agent. Yeah. When God creates, there's an effect occurs. But any actions within God isn't going to be an effect which occurs within God. God has a mind, he has a brain, all of this type of things, he acts, right? Those acts remain within God. That doesn't mean there's effects within God. That makes no sense. And you don't even have to take a Trinitarian view. You can take the Aristotelian view. You can take the Neoplaton, well, not the Neoplaton. You can take the Aristotelian view. He has a mind. He doesn't have a brain. But
Yes. What you said was when God created an effect
It's
occurred.
by
But any
necessity of
action.
nature. Huh?
No, I wanna every time G1 speaks, what I do is I just record it and write it down. So G1, you said when God creates an effect occurs, right? But any action
yes,
within God is not going to be an effect that occurs within God. Can you explain
yes,
that?
because everything within God is God. If God is eternal, then there isn't going to be anything within God which has a beginning. Because every effect has a beginning, because effects, right, begin because of a cause. So if we're negating anything to occur within God, right, then we're negating any effects to occur within God.
But
If
what is
there's
your reason
acts
for
which
negating
occur
that?
within God, right, that means there's things which proceed from that, which are not effects. That's all I'm saying.
What I'm saying, how can you justify negate? You cannot just say I reject something and don't give proper justification for it.
Oh,
Why do you reject it? Not just
If I have logical,
Wait, Kayla.
if I have a logical
Wait. Let
system,
me ask
right?
Kayla. Wait, let me ask
Yeah.
Kayla this. Kayla. Do effects occur after the cause?
yeah, effects will occur after. Yeah, the cause will be first.
Okay. Jesus doesn't occur after the Father.
Exactly.
Therefore, he's not an effect.
It doesn't occur after the Father. So it was done eternally and happened eternally.
Yes.
Duh.
Amen. Amen.
I mean,
Yo,
Amen.
you guys are
That's
tripping. I
legit the whole
promise you.
position. Look, I can give you an example. You know what logical principles are, right? Like law of identity, the principle, all of these stuff. You know what it is, right?
What you're saying, right? But then it's not realistic
Okay.
because I
But
hold to
when
the
we
same
have,
stance
wait,
when it
hold
comes to
on,
like
because we're using
creation.
logic. Logic is realistic to some sense, right? So when we have logic, we have logical principles, we have arguments which derive or come from these logical principles. But we don't say that these arguments are effects of these logical principles. So that's going to be a case where a principle and something which derives from it doesn't imply that thing is an effect. We can use logic. I can give you multiple examples, bro. It's not something which is ad hoc. If you go to a logician, you ask them, does logical principles cause arguments efficiently? They're gonna look at you sideways. They're probably gonna tell you to get out of the class. If you don't trust
I
me, go
mean,
to a
it
logician.
will be logically sound, but it will not be realistic.
It's not.
That's
It's
all.
if it's logically. Well, I don't know what that
How,
means.
wait, what does that even mean?
That doesn't
Sounds
even
but
mean anything.
sounds
No, I
It's
mean, no,
not.
naturalistic.
like,
So it's
wait,
true,
wait,
but it's
hold on.
not
Let me tell you what I'm
realistic.
saying, right?
What?
You cannot tell me, no, it's in the terms of your laws of logic, right? It would follow. But like if we apply it in real life, it wouldn't make sense. And this is why, right? You're saying that we can, hold on, let me tell you why. You're saying that there's no effects within God, right? But then there's a cause, right, that produces an effect. And this is actualized, but there's no effect within God. Like, I don't understand. There is a cause, there's no effect because it's within God. How do you explain it?
Okay. So, are you familiar with the Aristotelian causes, like formal cause, material cause, and all of that type of stuff, right? Are you familiar with it?
Yeah, officer. Sorry, say that again.
Are you familiar with formal cause, material cause, final cause, and all of that type, efficient cause? Are you familiar with the terminology?
No, you're gonna have to explain that to me.
So, do you know what matter is? Matter. Like the matter is going to be, okay, cool. So, matter is going to be a material cause. Matter is not an efficient cause. For example, if I look at a rock, right, the rock is going to have a material, right, and then the shape of the rockness is going to be its form. The matter, i.e., the material that the rock is made out of, is that the efficient cause for the rock? Is the matter the efficient cause for the rock, Kelige?
I was reading up on what you said. You're supposed to explain it to me, not question me. This is what you do, G1.
The
You're supposed
point
to explain
is
something.
that through questions we can get an understanding what's okay. Cool. If you don't like the questioning, the point is when we have a rock, the material by which the rock is made from and the form or the shape of the rock is going to be different. The formal cause and material cause. The material cause, the material of the rock, isn't the efficient cause of the rock. When we have matter, we don't say that's the efficient cause of the rock or anything which is material. The efficient cause of the rock is going to be something which is outside of the rock itself, which causes the rock's existence. So we have examples within Aristotle or even real life. When we have matter, we have formal cause and all of this type of stuff. That doesn't mean there's an efficient cause.
Something. So you're saying material cause would be something that it's made of, and then formal
Yes,
cause would be what makes it. G1, why do you suck at explaining stuff? Like, this is easy shit,
that's
right?
why. Okay,
You
so
say
if it is
material. No,
beautiful,
you just suck at explaining, and I just understood that now that you suck at explaining stuff, and that's why people don't understand you because you're terrible at
just
explaining
because
stuff,
you don't
right?
understand, just
Formal
because
cause. Oh, no, you suck at it. Let me make it really simple, right?
This
Formal
is
cause would be
Danny
what
rhetoric.
something is made of.
this is pedantic,
Wait,
Abibo. You already
hold
understand the
on.
point. Can we
Formal
move
cause would
on?
be, hold on,
You're telling me
dude. This
something
is
I
the
already
reason.
know.
Okay, wait. Let me just show
Okay,
you
so
that
then
things can be said
let's
in
carry
easier
on.
terms. Why won't you let me speak though?
Because what you're saying is pedantic. You're just explaining something that I already know. What's the point of you explaining something that I already
Okay, I'm
know?
just trying to tell you that like you can actually make it in simpler words. I'm just saying like you suck at
Okay,
explaining stuff. That's why people don't check for you.
that's a byproduct. That's a side point. No one cares about that. That's not the point. The point is what you
Yeah,
got.
I'm gonna say what I want to say.
The point is you got my point. So when we see the material cause of the rock, is that the efficient cause of the rock? Yes or no? The answer is
Is that
gonna
the
be no.
efficient cause?
The
No, it
answer is
wouldn't
gonna be
be.
no. Okay, so so the term cause is used there, right? Material cause, right? So every time we have so that doesn't mean every time the term cause is associated in any context, it means efficient cause. So when we say the Father is the cause of the Son, that doesn't mean the Father is the efficient cause of the Son, i.e. the Son being an
Okay, I
effect.
get what you're saying. I understand you now. So, but what I'm saying is when you say like the Son is begotten of the Father, would you agree that that is an action that was done?
It's not
Right.
an
Ergo,
action.
this action
It's not an action, right? And it would be an
not
act. Because
be an act.
action, yeah, it would be an action because it implies with the action at the beginning, right? It's going to be an act, which always was and always is.
Can you explain that to me? What would be the difference between an act and an action here?
Because, for example, when I kicked the ball, that's an action. The action had a beginning point. It didn't always exist, right? When we say that God's acts within him always is or always exists, means that there isn't a beginning point of his actions because he's internal. or his acts.
Another example of this action and act, I would say, give me an act that is not an action. Another example besides this
An
God.
act which is not an action, your existence. Your existence is going to be an act. And that's not an action. Because an action
It doesn't
typically
make
is
sense.
something which we do something.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense for you to do existence.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
I agree that I do not come into existence, right? I just exist.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'll
I
give
get
an
what y'all
example.
saying.
Okay. So Danny was just blundering again, back to back, back to back. Doesn't know what he's talking about. And bear in mind, he teaches Thomas Aquinas in school. So that's crazy.
Yo, when I'm finished reading, I'm just saying right now, I'm just warning all of you people here. When I'm finished reading SCOTUS, cause I just downloaded the prologue. So what's it called? Or I don't want to screw it up. Ordinatio.
Yeah, so we have all of that in the Discord. I sent you all of that, remember?
Yeah, but I can't be bothered to find it, so I had to
Yeah, go to the file section and then it'll show you. Legit, do you know how many books I've sent SCOTUS, I've sent William Nominalist, I've sent so many books there, so I haven't downloaded it yet, of course, but I got a lot of Scotistic manuals that I'm gonna read.
Yo,
Even Suarez is there.
SCOTUS is actually so based. Let me tell you guys why SCOTUS wasn't as popping as Thomas Aquinas. Let me give you guys like some. I'm gonna give you guys some tea. I'm gonna put y'all on game, okay? The reason SCOTUS was not as big as Aquinas is one, SCOTUS never got to like synthesize all of his works because he died at an early age, right? Number two, SCOTUS was a Franciscan, and the Dominicans kind of had more pull, you know, they kind of had more popularity, and it was kind of like the layman versus not the non-layman, right? So the Franciscans were essentially like okay, let me put it into terms like this, right? You have a soccer team, a football team, okay? You have a football team that's like backed by a major institution, and then you have a football team that's just like a whole bunch of random people got together. They're good at playing football and they made it to nationals, okay? So like the Franciscans were like the football team that was just like a whole bunch of people, whole bunch of friends that were good at playing football, but they weren't on the national level, right? And the Dominicans were the ones that were backed with the money, the institution, they had all the gear, all the practice, all of that, okay? So the reason SCOTUS is greater than Thomas Aquinas is because one, right, the technicality of this man is unmatched, okay? Number two, this guy was an analytical philosopher before analytical philosophy was a thing. Number three, if he ever lived long enough to synthesize his works and to actually had the backing that the Dominicans had, yo, SCOTUS would have been top dog. So the only reason why Aquinas is above SCOTUS is not intelligence, but it's just by the backing that Aquinas had. So, anyway, W SCOTUS.
I think it's like what SCOTUS is really he's the GOAT. W William Ockham, W John Buridian, W William Sherwood,
Wait,
W Piers
I didn't think
Buffet.
that's whoever said that SCOTUS himself says that he's not on the same level as Thomas Aquinas. Humility, that's just humility. Like me, myself, I would say like, oh, I'm not on the same level as you to certain people. And I really don't believe that. You feel me? Like humility SCOTUS was a humble man.
But I think this is like, isn't it? We play the things. I ain't gonna lie. I answered here. I actually answered in the closing, and then you can just end it. I don't know if you guys want to listen to the closing. That's up to you, innit? But listen to the closing. Listen to the answer. Because someone said, I looked in the comments. Someone said I'm running away from the question. I was gonna say, bro. Whoever said that, I wanted to slap their head, bro. I swear to God, I'm like, what? You think I'm running from Danny? I even said I like 25
And by the
minutes or
way,
something like that.
so sorry. I need book, chapter, work where SCOTUS actually says he wasn't on the same level as Aquinas. Please
Book, chapter, verse,
bring it up. Book,
scripture.
chapter, verse. Bring it up. Don't be lying on my goat, by the way.
It's a forgery. It's a forgery.
It was and if it exists, it was a forgery.
It was a forgery. It was a forgery. It was forged by a Thomist.
Book, chapter, work. Whoever said it was a hating ass Dominican.
Oh wait, play the closing part because I answered this silly question.
So you're LARPing. Tracy is LARPing. You just lied on SCOTUS just for the sake of lying on SCOTUS. You're a LARP. Imagine lying on my goats to elevate your goat. What you need? The remote needs batteries? It's low? Well, low doesn't mean gone, so gone.
Wait, listen to my closing though.
Well,
My closing angle that was kind of funny. I'll be wrong.
close the door. I can't lie, my laptop is shut off already.
Yo, you see, I told
Sorry.
you. You gotta
Y'all
get a new laptop.
Dang host, that's cold. What did I say?
But really and truly, William Occam's the GOAT.
No, bro.
Origin is the
There's nobody
GOAT.
above SCOTUS. Literally.
John Burden is the GOAT.
And nobody
Arian
above
was the
SCOTUS.
GOAT.
Nobody above SCOTUS. Nobody above SCOTUS.
Nah, Boethius is.
SCOTUS is my pope.
Boethius is the king of king. Wait, hold on.
Actually,
no, that's
simply
actually bad. The
because
king of philosophers.
you about to blaspheme.
Yeah,
Listen,
that was bad. Yeah.
Boethius,
Context.
simply because like of Boethius's integrity and tenacity, like that's actually the GOAT. But in terms of like intelligence, I gotta give it to my guy SCOTUS. But like Boethius, I don't know, you guys need to, whoever is on the committee for like adding venerable church fathers, y'all need to add Boethius because this man literally died for his faith. And while he was in his prison cell waiting to be executed unalived, you know, this guy was writing his last works. This guy was writing hymns and praising God. And he died because they thought he was too Catholic. They
But you know,
scared.
they do venerate him. Like, locally, they do
He
venerate
needs to be
Boethius.
universally venerated. Y'all want to talk about a martyr for the faith? Y'all need to universally venerate Boethius.
Like you're saying, like the Protestants,
Yes.
Catholics, EOs. Yeah, nah. You know what? You're right.
I will venerate Boethius.
Saying Boethius. Now he's crazy because I wish he had more like theological works. He didn't have that much, but he had like a lot of impact, even with his philosophical works as well. Like that guy's a smart man. A lot of Aquinas, a good chunk of Aquinas, like his metaphysical position derives from like definition of person comes from legit. The definition of person that's utilized comes from Boethius.
That's because Boethius synthesized Plato and Aristotle in a way that they just came together within the perfect harmony. And like Aquinas like hinges off of that, right? But that's because Boethius translated most of Aristotle's and Plato's works into Latin and then synthesized it. Boethius is actually, that's why he doesn't have a lot of his own works, because he spent most of his time making sure we understood other philosophical works and how they can be applied theologically.
But do you know what it is? But think about it, this guy just imagine he made the definition of person. You know how smart, bro. This guy was a person's like an individual of a rational nature. He was like,
so almost got it. Individual of a substance. Okay, substance. Individual. Substance of a rational individual substance of a rational nature. Got it. Like how smart do you have to be to come up with that definition? Like,
yeah, because a lot of people give like psychological. This guy gave like a metaphysical definition of person, bro. Like, and then the whole like Christendom uses that definition as a means to like articulate like the persons to be free and how that doesn't collapse into one person, bro. Like, the only speaking Boethius is the GOAT, king of philosophers, Boethius. We're gonna watch the debate. I want to get my friend to post it on YouTube. We play the closing because the closing was kind of funny.
I told you my laptop is off.
It doesn't take. Wait, it takes 10 years to turn on your laptop.
Bro, then I have to pull the file back up.
Yo, no, your laptop trash.
Bro, your laptop is trash.
So it doesn't. Wait, so it goes sleep and you can't turn it back on and it's back. Hey, you got a trash laptop. You got a laptop from the 2016. That's a 2016 laptop.
That's crazy.
No, I don't know. You got that laptop. You had that laptop for 10 years.
And what is your laptop?
My laptop. I got my laptop last year. It's
Yo,
new.
what is it? What brand is it?
It's HP.
Oh, HP.
Yeah, HP. Yeah, you can't talk trash. You got your
I
laptop from
got I
10
got
years
a
ago.
I got a MacBook, so
From 10 years ago, exactly.
literally it's not from 10 years ago, but it's literally superior.
Superior. That's why, but when you turn it on, you can't go to the file straight away. You have to like load the file
No, because
again. You do
because
all of
I
that.
closed it.
Oh, you closed
I,
it. Well, you shut it down or you put it to sleep.
no, I closed it. I closed the
Exactly.
file. I
Oh,
thought
you
we were
closed the
done
file.
because I said I wasn't gonna play the end of it. I was just gonna play the end of the debate.
Nah, but yeah, man, that one
I'll
GG is.
reiterate the end of the debate. G1 was like, disappointed in Danny. This guy was asking me questions, Q&A, debating like I was Kai Sanat and Mr. B. I'm very disappointed, and yeah, that was it. And then Danny was like, yeah, so there was two blunders. In regards to Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades, and yeah, so this all goes back to my original point, and that was pretty much it as well. So
Bro, listen, I won. That's a win on my belt. We're gonna go for one atheist. We're gonna get them on the belt, bro.
oh, you guys should. What's his name? I can't remember. It starts with a P. Oh, Pelkin. You should read Pelkin for biblical historical reliability. So he writes a work. I'll find the name of it, on the history of the church, and it literally starts from the days of the apostles all the way to all the way throughout like the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, all the way to like the Reformation, past the Reformation actually. So like if you want an accurate work on church history and the theological understandings, a comprehensive books, like all you need to read is Pelican.
Bro, hey man, Kiana, when's your next debate?
Yo, I don't think I'm gonna get a next one. I be
Why not?
putting BTA. Bro, Watchmen only debated me because it would look bad if he just like denied me a debate on live television. You feel me?
Yeah, that's what you gonna do.
Yeah, his name is Jaroslav Pelikan. If anybody wants to know the book. And he writes The Christian Tradition, a history of the development of doctrine. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, Watchmen, they said that Watchmen ran from a debate from Dom, but he did try to come on the word and I think that's his name, the word and I, his panel, and tried to talk about the debate. And then Dom was like, nah, you already like ran from the debate, da 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 da. And then so they kicked him. But I don't know if he was actually
That's a
like,
lie, though. Like, why would Watchmen would never run from a debate? Like, I would. That's a big. If Watchmen can debate you twice, like back to back, like, come on, that's a big lie. I don't think he would ever run from a debate.
I don't think he ran from the debate. I'll be wrong.
I didn't think he ran from the debate. I genuinely think like maybe he fell asleep or he forgot about the debate, because I think it was supposed to be at 2 and they said he was a no-show. But the thing is this, right? Like, I mean, Watchmen debated me back to back. He did try to change. Listen, Watchmen is sneaky with them rules now. He tried to make me the affirmative on both debates. He tried to make me the affirmative on both debates. And I was like, nah, Watchmen, you got to change the title because I'm not affirming both times. You got to affirm one time and I'll negate one time. And somebody said this to me, and I know it to be true, because if you don't give AI a very strict criteria as to what it's checking for and what it's to disregard, right? AI is going to side with the negative, right? Because it's easier
Is
to...
it?
Yes. AI is going to side with the negative if you don't give it a very strict criteria as to what it's checking for. Like me, when I tell AI to check, bruh, I have to literally put in every fallacy, right? Put in a list of every fallacy, tell AI to check for these fallacies. I'll be like, disregard misspeaks if an individual like misspeaks. Disregard misspeaks or like grammatical errors like within a statement, like you have to do it extensively, or else AI is going to be lazy and literally going to it's 9 times out of 10 it's going to tell you the -1.
Okay, okay.
That's why Watchmen
You know,
love hints in
I want
AI.
to ask you, Shokiana, can you give me like your like the other things that you've added to your AI when you like your prompts, right? The other things that you tell it to check for. Mute up, G1. The hell?
He going
Yeah,
through the
can you
sumo
give
right
me
now.
those things? Because I'm gonna put like this G1's debate like in an AI to see like what it's gonna tell me.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, we debated, but what's it called?
Because sadly, like I'm starting G1 just I can't lie, G1, you are terrible at explaining stuff because I'm starting to see like a lot of the things I thought were gotchas were not really gotchas, but like you suck at explaining, to be fair. That's why you sounded like you were saying nonsense.
No, it's because the reason why is because one is a debate. I don't have time to explain everything in detail regarding to like grammar, fill of language. I tried to give a sufficient amount of explanation such that if someone does review, they can understand what I'm saying. So I knew that people was not gonna get what I was saying straight away. I knew that. That's why I try to give a sufficient explanation. And those who are more familiar with the philosophy of language and grammar, they would understand what I'm saying. So when we do the review, we can go one by one and we see what Danny was saying. Is he made so much blunders on the fill of language section. So many blunders, even on the metaphysics part. Blunders after blunders after blunders, bro. It was just getting cool. Everyone was saying, oh yeah, Danny won, bro. Why would that, bro? If Danny generally generally beat me, Danny would make that known. That would be like, yeah, I want to get you. He didn't make that known. He knows in his heart. He didn't do good. He knows in his heart he didn't cook me.
Bruh, to be fair, I think like the whole conversation could have been more productive anyways, but then he definitely did not win that debate. Let's just be for real.
Yeah, it could have been more productive. Realistically speaking, he should have been the one bombarding me with arguments. That would have been more fun. Because me personally, I like defending more than attacking. You get what I'm saying? How am I attacking when I'm supposed to be defending in the debate? Why am I attacking? Like what? Makes no sense.
Yeah. Oh, he didn't fall asleep for your debate. He didn't fall asleep for my debate, but I'll tell you why like Watchmen doesn't mind debating me, because like I've debated Watchmen before. I've even debated him like informally. We've done the little Q&A back and forth on Duran's panel. Because like I'm just a nice person. I'm just being so for real. I'm a respectful conversationalist. When I have a debate with somebody, I don't do all that like derogatory like what do you call rhetoric, like all the derogatory rhetoric. I don't do that. Like I'd be stating my facts. If they make a blunder, like I might giggle, I might joke, this, that, and the third, but just know, like me and the individual always leave the debate on good terms. Like not that that's the point, but the point is like we're here to present our arguments, and we're not here to like sit here and degrade the other individual, because that's not what a debate is about. You feel me? So
G1, can you hear though?
Yeah,
Are you listening? All right, keep speaking.
About what? But yo, Cavo, what's it called? You just don't know. You just keep. I don't know why I give these guys attentions, because if I ask for a formal debate, they're gonna ask me a question. They said as a condition for bro, you was calling me a partialist before, but when I'm asking you to formally debate, now you're gonna answer my question, then I'll do it.
G1, debate me on Jesus being the Messiah.
No, I'm not gonna debate that.
Why?
Because I don't want to.
Wait,
I'll debate. Easy. You see that? Easy.
Wait. I'll formally debate you on is Jesus the Messiah, Kayla.
Beautiful. Yes. Okay. Cool. No problem. 2 weeks.
Okay. Can we do it on Duran's panel in 2 weeks?
Of course. Jesus being the Messiah. Why not? I'm game.
Yay!
You see how easy that was? I said no. I didn't say I'll debate you if did it. Bro, like, well, I said no, I don't want to.
I'm gonna make a cute background image, so we gotta get in 2 weeks from now. What's the day? Monday? Can we do it on a Saturday or Friday?
Sure. Just pick a day you want and then let me know.
Do it on a Saturday. Do it around like 3 p.m.
No, yes. Not 3 p.m. on a Saturday. That's too early.
But then what time?
I want it to be like when everybody's like ready to, after they ate dinner, they're ready to sit down and just like doom scroll.
Me too. It's usually better that way.
Yeah.
But if you look at it, Darren has like
7 p.m.
500 views right now around this time. I'm saying if you're gonna do with Darren Dorsey live, his views are more active around these times when it is like later on.
If that's the case, we'll just debate at 11 a.m. But I just don't think like anybody wants to formally debate at 11 a.m. You feel me?
Now I'm talking
We're
about
definitely not debating in the morning. It has to be in the evening, though.
Wait, what time is
what's
it
going
for
to
you
be
right now, Kayla?
Oh no, leave it. My time doesn't really matter. I'm on your time anyway, so it's fine. Like, just pick a time. Your time, maybe like 7, 8. Your time, I'll be
Yeah,
available.
yeah. See, that's what I'm thinking. Like 7, 8 p.m.
Yeah, but it's gonna be late for the UK people.
Bro, they be up on weekends anyway.
No, you're right about that.
We can do it on Friday just in case anybody has church the next day. So they'll be up late anyhow.
I'm gonna love this debate. Let me get all the Jews in check. So wait, but you have to remember.
Yo,
Okay, never mind. I think I would.
she's gonna bring the rabbinics.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. I got Rennie, I got Big Shalom, I got Courtney. Like, Kayla, you're gonna get cooked.
I hope so.
Me too. Hopefully, I can bring you back into the faith. That's gonna be the goal of the debate.
And when you believe Jesus the Messiah, are you talking about like scripturally, like given the Old Testament or whatnot? What are you talking about?
Yeah, to be the Messiah, he has to have fulfilled the messianic prophecies, and I know Jesus didn't fulfill any, so that would be easy.
So that means if she shows Christ fulfilling one, that means the proposition where Christ didn't fulfill any is false, right?
No, to be a Messiah, you'd have to fulfill the messianic prophecies. You cannot just fulfill one and say, well, because anybody has fulfilled one, at least one. I can say you're the Messiah because I could pick up something you've fulfilled, right? Anyone can be the Messiah. If that's how to make a messianic profile, he would have to actively fulfill at least the ones that I would say like are the most important. He would have to fulfill them. If he doesn't fulfill the messianic prophecies, he's not the Messiah. So I think we'd have to like lay out the what exactly you'd have to prove. I think that there will be like some categories. I'll do it right up and send it to you.
Okay. Also, I'm not a preterist, so
Yeah, that's gonna suck.
yeah.
That would
And I
suck
mean,
for you because like
it's not really gonna suck for me. It's gonna suck for you.
no, not necessarily because first of all the messianic prophecies did not support this year 2-time coming. Like nothing about the Messiah says it's gonna come twice, right? It does not. The Old Testament does not support that, so that might be an issue for you. So a preterist position, they might try to struggle and smuggle things in there.
I don't want to do too much talking. Feel me? I don't want to give up no sauce before the debate.
Sure, let me get my dues in all right, cool. Let me go fix the Persian Jew and the rest of them.
Okay.
Lovely, we got another formal debate.
Yay. Yo, me versus Kayla. Who's gonna be mod? Wait, Kayla, do you want to be mod or do you want to bring your own mod?
Hell no.
I don't want to be
hell
mod.
no.
I don't want to be mod.
Not you.
But don't do that. I'm a good man. So I don't know what you're talking about.
What's weird is I think the best mod will be like yeah, all of y'all are biased, gang. Everybody likes Jesus. Hold on.
Just bring an atheist, or you can bring a rabbinic Jew.
Oh, okay. No, they'll be biased. Those people hella biased. No, I'll bring a Muslim.
Bring a Muslim. Okay, that's fine. You can bring a Muslim.
They'll get kufad, bro.
Yeah,
be like,
wait,
yo.
a Muslim. Muslims
Yeah,
Muslims
Muslim
will
doesn't
be
really
Jesus
care if he isn't the Messiah. They don't really care that much about it. It really does nothing for them.
Yeah, but Jesus is the Messiah in their view.
Yeah, but like, they be negating it sometimes. You be hearing things like, well, Jesus, I'm like, I hear Muslims say he's not a Messiah. I'm like, y'all don't even know what you want. So
They
Muslims
be
on this
saying
app, they're
crazy things
confused.
about Jesus. They be saying crazy things about Jesus, and he's their prophet. So like, you feel me?
So I would say that like one of the Muslims would suffice.
Okay. All right. Just as long, and don't bring Averroes. Like I'm not dealing with him as a mod. That's not a Muslim, anyways. That's a
Averroes is
confused.
technically not Muslim. I'm not sure what was going on there, but he's technically not Muslim.
He's a heretic. He's a Buddhist rationalist Muslim Shia.
They'll be rationalist Muslims.
No, bro. There's no such thing as a rational Muslim, so I don't understand the position.
Oh, we can use someone who is not biased. We can use Gina. She's not biased.
Oh, Gina. Okay.
She definitely is not biased, so she
Yeah,
can she can pull out.
between you two, if it was me, she would be hella biased with that.
Well, duh, yeah, but she will not be.
Wait, let's just do the Muslim thing. The Muslim.
Okay, we can use a Muslim. I think let me see a Muslim that would be. I can bring like
He's wait, hold
any
on,
of my
I know who's
brethren
the
to purity.
perfect. No, I know who's the perfect Muslim. Retirement. Use retirement. This guy, he likes this kind of conversation. Bring retirement. Kelly, you know who retirement is, right? The guy is always just yapping about
That guy
Calvinism.
doesn't have the competence to moderate a debate.
But deeper, he's a Muslim that kind of likes these discussions.
Nah, bro.
It's weird. I think Watchman is the most unbiased person I know. Yes, Watchman. Watchman, I don't care if he's not supporting my position. That man is not biased. He doesn't have a biased bone in his blood.
We can bring Watchman.
Not biased. I can agree to Watchman.
Okay, but oh, G1, I have to tell you something. Yo, I have to tell you something.
But text it to me so you don't forget, because I feel like you're gonna forget.
I can't text it to you. I have to verbalize it. Can't have no evidence of this.
Okay, so now when you gonna tell me that?
I'm gonna tell you.
Just tell me after the live.
Okay. No, I gotta tell you. I have to cook after live. Okay, I'm gonna tell you. So we concluded G1 right? Yeah. No, we're gonna do it on Duran's live. Oh, let me tell. Oh, Duran's not live anymore. Dang it.
Brother Skipper, send me all your resources for Jesus, all the Jesus trash you got. Send it to me.
I did this for, I did that debate for Cliff.
You
Cliff
did it
and
for
Stuart.
Cliff W.
I did it for Cliff and Stuart.
W.
Because you know how Alex O'Connor, the atheist, was trying to get onto Cliff? And since, Danny's an atheist, he has to get. So we're 1-1 right now.
Do you want me to take the affirmative, Kayla? Jesus is the Messiah. That's a good title.
What do you not take the affirmative?
Yeah, to be honest, I really don't know which position was stronger for me. So yeah, I'm gonna let you have it. I think I have the stronger position, so it's okay.
I'll take the affirmative. I'll have the bigger burden of proof to prove that Jesus is the Messiah. I'll take it easy on you. You feel me?
All right, cool, gotcha.
You know, that makes sense about the whole necessary. I was like, why is this guy talking about by necessary implication? I'm like, what?
I'm telling you, he does that that's why I rejected his little proof standard, because if he can put it into AI, right, and something is not necessarily implied, but you draw an inference due to, like, say, a collective of scriptures, right? And then the AI is gonna be like, oh, you failed the proof standard, therefore I reject all that proof standard ish.
Then I would have just given a syllogism which has an inference rule. And I would just satisfy that requirement, and then I would just win in virtue of that, which makes no sense.
Do you want to do it in 2 weeks or in 1 week?
2 weeks.
2 weeks. I need 2 weeks to prepare for it.
Oh, you ain't playing. Okay, you're not playing. Okay.
We gotta build this up, man. You feel me?
Yeah, we gotta build up the hype.
Kayla the Spinozan versus Kiana the Scotist.
Bring those people to the Jews. Y'all coming over.
You talking about spiritual Jews? You talking about the spiritual Jews? Amen. You talking about the Christians? Amen.
Wait, what's Friday 2 weeks from now? Somebody told me. Oh, it's next Friday. What's the date? What's the date for next Friday?
Can you send those scriptures to my DM? So, yeah. What books are we using? Are we using the whole? Are we
Yo,
using the
I don't care.
Protestant books or?
We can use and listen. I don't like the like. If you want to restrict it to biblical data, cool. But I don't mind using anything and everything. Can't lie.
Oh no, I don't have to use biblical data. Oh, actually, I think it actually favors me more if I don't use biblical data. If I just because like I don't even have to. I can give you like I can refute like all of those Matthew's claims, right? If I go outside scripture, so it's even better for me.
Of course. We can use any legitimate source.
Yeah, that works.
Can somebody tell me the date for next Friday?
Oh, I tried to check. Give me a second.
It's the 7th of August.
Okay.
Seventh is in a week from now.
No, this week. Today's Monday, so this Friday is going to be. I don't know what today's date is. The
It's
28th.
basically 2 weeks.
No, it's 2 weeks.
Okay, seven. Okay, you're right. You're right.
Oh, this is gonna be, this is gonna be my best one yet. You giving me 2 weeks? Usually I just wait till last minute to like study and put something together, you feel me? But 2 weeks? This is gonna be good. This is gonna be good. I'm gonna start advertising now. Advertising sounds bad.
It's a good thing because a lot of Christians don't debate this. Like y'all don't debate this enough. Like it's always the Godhead. It's never proven like Jesus'
I
identity.
agree. Yo, amen to the Trinity, but I'm tired of like arguing Trinity with these people. I can't lie to you.
Don't worry, in the future I might debate him.
You said what?
I said in the future I might debate the topic.
Right. Okay, by the way, whenever I post this, can everybody that's in this live, and tomorrow when I go live, I'll also say this as well. Everybody that's in this live, make sure you repost and share it. Make my debate promotion prompt go viral within our community, okay? So we could get a good audience and this can be like a really fruitful discussion. Appreciate it. Yo, I gotta read. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna just read straight Bible for a week. And then after that,
Because I'm gonna be like obsessing. Oh my goodness, this is so exciting. I've never been this excited in a long time. I like debating stuff like this.
You want to debate Spinoza?
I'm excited for this debate.
No, G1, you're looking for who cooks. Meet up. Debate Spinoza. What do I barely even know what he believes. I'm still studying it. What the hell?
Yo, Gina. Actually, Gina is my favorite oneness, by the way. I don't know who my favorite Unitarian
She might
is.
be the only oneness. The rest are like skin suitors. Like
Bruh, the rest of the oneness are they're impersonators because they're not actually oneness. I think they're like undercover Unitarians. They're like in between oneness and Unitarians. Gina and I would say Blackout is genuinely a reductio.
Nah, Blanca is skin suitor. Gina's like the only oneness. I think she and Oscar are the only people that actually have oneness doctrine. The rest just have skin suitors and like divine fleshes and shit like that. Like an avatar man, something like I don't know, man. It's messed up.
Facts. The avatar oneness. The skin suit oneness. Gina's the only one that's not a skin suit oneness.
They be having skin suits and like avatars, and some got like holograms. It's confusing.
The holograms, the skin suits, the appearances. The Jesus is partly God, well, he's a man, but he's also the Father, so part of him is God and part of him is not God. Yo, the body did
Yeah.
it on its own type shit.
The flesh growing wisdom. I'm like, hell, how a flesh growing wisdom? What the hell?
Yo, it was the Father, but the son did it, but it was the Father, but it was just the flesh. Oh, okay.
Mac is straight up a Unitarian. It's just a
That's
Unitarian that believes that
that's
Jesus believes.
maculations, bro.
Yeah, that's maculation. I ain't gonna hold you.
Macaroni. Yo, I love Mac though. Yo,
Macaroni.
Reductio, come back. This nigga just came out of hiding after like a minute. I haven't seen Reductio on TikTok in like a month or 2 months. Just reading that magazine. Sick of reading that magazine. Yo, I'm crying. Nah, bruh. I love Mac. Mac is a good guy, but like, bro, Mac be making stuff up on the spot. I can't lie to you. If it doesn't work, Mac just gonna reinvent it. I remember I went up on Mac's panel and Kayla and Mac were having a conversation, and I said, Mac, do you believe the Father is the first principle? And he said, yeah. And I went on to ask my second question, and he was like, but hold that thought, because I just want to go in order. Yo, I was silenced for 45 minutes. Mac got unlimited rebuttals. Literally, I don't think there's a question you can ask Mac that even if the rebuttal is just ad hoc as hell, he got a rebuttal for you. Like, Mac got a response.
You said ChatGPT, bro. That was a good thing.
Yo, Mac is like AI in real life.
Like, he has a response to everything.
And you
Smart. I ain't gonna hold you. Mac is a smart man. Let's give it to him. He's smart.
facts. Bro, you can't even accuse. Do you know the thing is, you can't even accuse Mac of using AI because the response be too quick. Bro, before you even finish the objection, Mac got an answer for you. Bro, I can't even be like, you asked ChatGPT. ChatGPT takes longer than that to load. Like, you can't even accuse this man of AI. He just got it in him somewhere.
Screaming, just know it's over. You're not gonna get an answer.
Bruh, I seen Mac on another panel the other day, and I'm not gonna lie, he caught Black Boy, because Black Boy said Mac said something that Mac didn't say. Yo, Mac did not let it go. I never seen Mac get in beast mode like that. Yo, Mac needs to be a politician. He needs to run for president, because there's not going to be nobody's gonna leave him stuck. Nobody's gonna leave him stuck. He gonna have answers for everybody. He needs to be one of those, whenever the kings like sit in their chair and then like the peasants come up with their problems, Mac gonna have an answer for each one of them. They gonna come up like, but this happened and this, Mac gonna, hey, this what we gonna do. Facts. Like when I was listening to his and Wisdom's debate, I was like, yo, if I didn't know any better, I would say Mac was dog walking Wisdom because it just sounds good. You feel me? Mac's talking about, now my interlocutor is going to have you believe X, Y, and Z. He's, bruh. I'm like, okay, Mac, it sounds good. If I didn't know any better, I'd say you was cooking. Mac can sell a fish water. He can, I can't lie. Yo, Mac could sell a pig bacon, bruh. I'm excited for this debate, Kayla. This should
All
be
the people that don't believe Jesus is the Messiah, just go in my DMs, okay? Hell, stop giving her my clues.
This guy said Mac can convince the devil to repent. I like to see an argument between Mac and the devil, low key. The devil gonna have met his match.
We'll recruit him for sure.
Big up, and make sure y'all repost this and y'all spread it all throughout TikTok. Me and Kayla are debating Jesus is the Messiah. I'm affirming, Kayla's negating. 2 weeks from now, August the 7th. Y'all better make it go viral in our sphere of TikTok. I'm not saying it has to get thousands and thousands of likes, but Jesus is the Messiah. Me v. Kayla. Duran Dorsey's panel, August 7th. It's set in stone, so right, Kayla? Right, Pookie?
Good, I'm game. Yeah, I've been wanting to debate this since I found out.
Yay. That's gonna be good. The goal of this conversation is to bring Kayla. Yo, Gina, just come up twice. You could come up at the end of the Q&A, ask me a question, then ask Kayla a question. That's fair. Make it look like Kayla is cooking, then make it look like, then reverse, and make it look like I'm cooking. You feel me?
Well, when I'm done, I'm gonna have like I'm gonna be selling Judaism forms, but I'm gonna be selling it for money though. If you want to be a Jew, you have to buy my forms because nobody will believe that no more.
Yo, after this, I'm not gonna lie, like, y'all aren't even formidable. Well, that's not nice. The wrestling guys, I feel like I'm formidable enough. You feel me? I don't feel like I'm not any Peter Geach, but who wants to see a lot of people? I'm not gonna lie, it was like 240 people that watched me debate with Watchmen, and that wasn't like a debate I thought a lot of people would want to see. So
You're so upset. What are you on about? You're a Muslim? The hell?
Elizabeth Anscombe, yo, that's too much glaze. I don't know if I can accept that.
Hey, Elizabeth Anscombe was better than Peter Geach.
True, the wives are always better than the husbands. They just be in the background, like low
Wait,
key.
hold on. I'm not talking about no, that's not what I'm talking about.
Yes,
I'm talking
bro.
about philosophy.
Listen. I bet you Einstein's wife was doing all his math problems.
Apparently, something about that, like Einstein's. Yeah, I heard about that. Was it
They
you? Or
say
was it
they say
Einstein?
it's a myth, but I believe it.
Yeah, but Elizabeth Anscombe, she's actually one of my favorite philosophers, like contemporary wise.
Wait, invite the wrestling guy up. I want an informal 5 minutes Q&A. Come
The
on.
first time, Shekiana, you know what's gonna happen, right? All the Unitarians are gonna be on your side. That is so
For
cool.
the first time in forever. What math problem was Eve doing? Yo, Eve was like, if 1 + 1 = 2, then eating this apple is gonna have me screwed, but you know, you why not debate about that terrible day? What do scriptures say? Yo, y'all better be there. Fact, she was counting food. She was counting that fruit. She was like, just one bite. You know that commercial that be like, how many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop? Eve was doing that with the apple. How many bites till God throw me out?
Kiana, I gotta go. I need to go create a group with all the Jesus haters right now. All right, I need to get busy.
That's crazy. You can't be like getting your troops together. Don't do that.
I have to. I literally have to. I need to get all the Jesus haters and be like, "Hey, Judaizers, so let's get started. We have to disprove this
So we're
guy."
gonna make this a battle for real. Okay.
Yeah, I need to get them checked because I know y'all be sneaky. I know Courtney's sneaky as hell. I need to go watch all Courtney's debates.
I'm dead. I'm not gonna get no help, Kayla. It's just gonna be me, myself, and I. I never get help for my debates.
Right.
Ever.
Renegade probably already helping you as we speak right now. Stop.
Already in my messages. Nah. I've never had anybody help me with a debate. I just feel like that's not fair.
It's okay. Just have it in mind. If I'm gonna get a rabbi's help, I will. So I don't play fair. I play dirty. I literally would have like rabbis on the phone discussing this. So you should come with all your guns.
Okay, that's fine. I'm gonna find a philosopher to call. No worries.
Oh, what do you mean philosopher of hell?
And a critical historian. Yo, it's okay.
Ooh, I did offend one critical historian yesterday. I gotta go apologize. I'll be right back.
No. Whoever you're apologizing to, I'm making the call as we speak. Like, this is a fake apology. Ooh, this should be a good debate. And if I find out any Christian, I'm dogging you for the rest. If I find out you guys
helped with the debate. I'm dogging you for the rest of TikTok eternity. You'll have to download some sources.
We're in the live.
Okay. God bless you guys. Thank you for being here.
50,000 years ago, and we don't know where the mysterious bright light in the sun, why does it come up over there and why does it go down over there, and like it basically takes almost the exact same path every single day. And I give you an explanation, you say, you know what, that makes sense. And then the two of us go off to our neighbor and we say, we think we figured out why that thing goes this way and goes and ends that way. And then it makes sense to them, so they agree with us. So then three of us go to the next house and we say, we think we know why this thing happens over here and then goes down over here. And then they say, I don't think that's why that is. Well, suddenly, I know that's how it is because God told me.
Yes. Can you think about the first person who died and the person who saw them die? They didn't know what the heck happened to them. I'm sorry, unalived. The person who was unalived or just been unalive for natural causes. They didn't know what happened to them. All they knew was that person was there and then they weren't there, and so they would automatically go, well, they're not here anymore, but maybe they're here in some other way because this is. I mean, Well, go ahead.
Not necessarily. Like we can see this in like elephants that mourn after their loved one has passed away.
I'm sorry. I'm speaking about like hundreds of thousands of years ago, like where